Hello and welcome to episode 80 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Darren Whittam, and joining me this week it's the other Spark on the pod with a dynamic range and pixel count higher than all of Yoda's midichlorians put together. It's Anthony Chesson.
That's just bloody awesome. Hello sir, how you doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm really good.
Wow.
Good to be back podding, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've had a couple of week break.
Have we forgotten how? It's been so long. It feels like it's been forever. It's only been a fortnight, but it's a long time in games.
Exactly. What end do I talk in this microphone? What end is it? Superb. So how has your weeks been? How's your weeks been?
That's too much to talk about. It was my amazingly busy and jet set lifestyle that I have. I've had a half term for my son. He's been on holiday from school.
Right.
So lots of child-centric fun and games with that, which don't worry, I won't go into in any great detail. I had a bit of a gathering this weekend with some friends. They got small children too, so it was sort of two other couples and their kids. Don't really have lots of kids round the house, which you might think that's weird, but we don't. We don't really have kids around all the time.
Right.
So that was kind of a new experience. There was stuff everywhere, like Sam and it's like three other little ones, just sort of. There's just toys everywhere. Basically, their playing was just getting everything out and just throwing it into the four winds, so the whole entire house was just covered in toys. And so that was interesting because Sam's quite neat and tidy, and we didn't realise what the playing just meant. Everything would be everywhere, like Lego everywhere, swords everywhere, shields everywhere, just everything everywhere. But that was good fun. I made a nice paella for the grown-ups to enjoy as we had a few beers and chatted while the kids were entertained with this and that. And then, of course, rolled VR out later on. There was a few people that hadn't tried it. One wouldn't have a go.
Oh, right.
My mate's girlfriend, she's just like, nah. And my mate went, I don't know what's going on, but she won't have a go. Ask her and see if she'll have a go if you ask her. So I was like, come and have a go on VR. Like, she was no. I didn't know what to do. She just said no. She went, nah. She went, no, I'm not. And I goes, go on. And it was just like, nah. I just thought I'd leave it there. I didn't know what to do.
Do you know why? Was it a phobia? Did she not like being in close space? Was she a bit claustrophobic?
I felt from the tone that it was unwise to try and drill down. I didn't know what to do. I felt back to you know when somebody it wasn't really a steely glare or anything, but it was just kind of like.
It was a definite shut down. You were shut down with a no.
I was shut down with a no. It was like I know he's just asked you to ask me. I'm not doing it. Leave me alone, sort of thing.
Yes.
I thought, okay. But it's weird. The only other person that I know in the world that won't have a go is my dad.
Wow.
I don't know his reason either, and I have tried to get it out of him, but I don't get into that. It'll be more like a psychologist session.
Exactly. I'm just like, you've been laying on the couch, and I'm like, okay, Darren, let's take us back to your childhood.
It all started when I was 6. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. The paella was all right. Though I thought I didn't season it enough, which was a shame. But nobody was rude enough to say anything or honest enough to say anything. They all said it was nice. And ate it. But I think they should have just said. I said, look, there's salt in the cupboard if you want it, because I secretly wanted salt, because nobody else wanted any. I didn't either.
Why didn't you just secretly kind of get a bit of a grind on your own one, and then you've been happy?
Because we were all stood in a semicircle in the kitchen.
Yes. With our
bowls and forks in our hands, so there was no way I could have secreted the salt into my dish without,
right.
So I thought, if anyone wants salt, I've got some. If you need some, everyone's like, no, it's fine. That's it, and I was like, I want some salt.
So you succumbed to peer pressure.
Yeah, I did, and I enjoyed my food less than I would have with some salt for that, which shows what an amazing host of iron will I am. And then we brought out Richie's plank experience because my mate had a go and he wanted his wife to have a try, so we rolled out the plank again. I said, we'll do this first, because if we leave it later it just gets messy, and the thing is, getting the plank out later is just, we get it out now while we're all, I haven't had any beers and stuff, and it'll just be easier, and then we can get it out of the way. So I got the plank out that my dad had planed and sanded for me. It came out, I guess, it has good use, this plank. Got the plank out, measured it up, inserted it into the game so the game knew where the plank was, and everybody had to go on the plank experience. My mate's wife, though, was priceless. She couldn't step out of the lift.
Oh, really?
She was in the lift, and she was like, no, and he's like, just try. My mate held her hand and everything. I think she got 1 foot on the plank, but that took ages. So it was proper like these YouTube videos where, we're just looking at a girl stood in front of a bit of wood on the carpet, not gonna stand on it.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That just shows how much of the immersion that they got from that game, doesn't it?
Yeah, and she went, I've had enough now. And my mate had a go, and he walked up and down it. But he said, he came out of it and he said, you know something? He goes, that's more scary than that zombie game. He was like, that's the scariest thing that I think I've done in it, because I don't think he'd done it before. And then the kids had a go as well, which was quite funny. So yeah, that was really cool. That's in a brief nutshell. That's what I've been up to. What about you? Have you been doing anything nice in the last few days?
Well, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I popped up to Skegness. So my dad lives just outside of Skegness in a little village called Chapel St Leonard's. He lives like on the beach with Charlie the dog, and so we popped up there. It was his birthday, so we went up to kind of see him. And my sister had arranged for us to do some bowling. So we were going to bowling, and then we were going for a nice meal afterwards. So we did some 10-pin bowling first, and so we went to Skeggy to do the 10-pin bowling. And it was in Skegness Pier, which kind of harked me back to kind of when I was 16, 17, because I used to work in the summer, before I kind of tended bar, I used to work at the Skegness Pier. So fixing.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to work fixing arcade machines. Like, if I was basically walking the floor, and if anyone had a problem or if a machine wasn't paying out, then I would kind of open up the back and fix it and do stuff like that.
Was you always in a mood? Like, all the attendants were always grumpy.
No, I was always happy.
Was you?
I was always, you had
the job of your dreams, didn't you? I did. You weren't 50 with a beard doing it, were you?
No, exactly. I was 16 with like, oh my god, I love video games. So I kind of went back there, which was fantastic to go back. But when I went, it was because the bowling alley is at the back of the pier. And when I stepped in, obviously I had to walk through the arcade, and I haven't been to an arcade in years. We didn't have enough time, unfortunately, because I would have A, spent a lot of time, and B, spent a lot of money in there, because there's so many games. There's so many games that I've never heard. There was a Mario Kart game, there was a new Aliens game with a gun, there was just so many games.
Did they have a plaque on the wall with your face on it and a little bronze inscription underneath, a little plate, Anthony Chesson, arcade attendant,
employee of the decade?
Yeah, 1989.
Luckily, I never met anyone who I used to work with, because that would be really sad if they were still working.
Your old mate who was an attendant, and he's like, "Yeah, I never left, boy.
I love it. I still love it. I live with my mum, but I love it." But one game that I did absolutely just kind of jump on. I think I did it after we did a couple of games of bowling, and I just said to everyone, I said, I don't care how late we are. We actually pushed dinner back by 45 minutes. I said, I don't know how late we are. I said, I need to play this because I've been wanting to see this for ages, found it, and I need to jump on it. And that was Batman Arcade. So it was a 2-seater driving sit-down arcade cabinet, and I was like, I have to play this. I was wanting to play Mario Kart as well, but I was like, I don't care. I just need to play Batman Arcade. So I put a couple of quid into it, had about 3 or 4 goes, and oh my god, it was amazing.
Wow. So you're driving the Batmobile?
Driving many Batmobiles.
Oh, wow.
So you jump in, you then choose easy or hard. I chose easy because it was my first time. And then you got to pick which Batmobile you wanted, ranging from the Bill Dozier 1966 Batman all the way up to the Tumbler that was used in Dark Knight Rises.
Wow.
So you had all of those in between. So of course I went for 1989 Batman first, because that was just awesome. So I went for that first, and then I went for the Tumbler. I also did Batman and Robin one, with a bit of the flippy bit at the back, and then I went for the 1966 Batmobile. And basically you're just driving around Gotham. You have objectives that you need to do, but you're kind of, a lot of the time you're chasing things or jumping things, and you can shoot as well, so you've got triggers on the steering wheel. And it was just, it was an absolute ton of fun. I really didn't want to leave, so we basically just said to my dad, because Nicola we found this out when we went to Vegas a couple of years ago, that Nicola has a bit of a thing for slot machines. So she was happy while I was doing this, but what we said to my dad was, we're going to come up in the summer, and and we're going to go out really early and just kind of go hit Skeggy Pier again or Skegness Seafront and just kind of go into all the arcades, because we all had. My dad had some. My dad was on the slots. I gave Nicola some money. She went on the slots. We were just like, and my sister and her boyfriend as well. We're all just kind of have a great laugh. So we're going to do it again.
Going to do it right.
Exactly. Yeah. I said then we have to finish with the dodgy fish and chips right at the end, which is what I used to do at 2:00 in the morning when I was in when I lived in Skegness. So it was just really good, but it was really nice to kind of tie it back to the pod and with the Batman arcade. So it was fantastic.
Did the screen, was it just normal flat screen? Did it wrap around you at all for a bit of extra immersion?
No, it was just literally 2 flat screens, because you could have 2 people playing side by side if you wanted.
Okay, yeah, I sort of visualise it now, yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Like I say, it was a great arcade cabinet. They had some fun stuff in there. Like I say, those Mario Kart, Aliens. They even had. I don't know why they needed it on Skegness Seafront, because it's always windy. But they had a machine that simulates a hurricane. So there was this woman who kind of got in there. It shuts the door behind you, and then just blows air at you and a bit of rain, and she was in there like, it was that windy outside, it was that.
You don't need it. I was going to say, just send her to Blackpool.
Exactly, you don't need it. You're right on the Skeggy seafront, and I've never seen so many wind turbines. So it obviously shows how windy it is. I think even the tagline for Skegness is "It's so bracing," just because it's always windy. But here was this. It's like when people drive for a long time and they stop at a service station and then they start playing a driving game. It was almost like that. So it was very funny. But no, it was really good fun, and I really enjoyed getting back into an arcade.
Wow, and it took you back to the glory days.
It really did. My green T-shirt on. Oh, I wanted to go back, but I'm really surprised at how Batman Arcade is not available. Is not like an ID at Xbox or a PSN title, that no one's decided to port this kind of very quick racing game over to the consoles. Yeah,
I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. I mean, I went and found the Star Wars Battle Pod, because along the Golden Mile in Blackpool, there's loads of arcades. I'll have to have a look for it, because I haven't seen this one. But also surprising, it sounds like it'll make a nice VR game, that. A nice sort of easy to do driving game. Batman driving game, be awesome. Tag it onto the experience, that'd be well good.
Absolutely. Next time you're on the seafront, have a pop into the arcades, because you can't miss it. It's ginormous bat symbol. I'll send you some of the pictures as well, because it's absolutely superb. So that's kind of what I've been doing / playing. What have you been playing this week, Daz?
I've been drowning in games, actually. Man. So Yakuza 0, I was playing during the last pod.
Still loving that?
Yeah, loving it. Loved it. I finished it.
Oh, you finished it now?
Yeah, I finished it last night. Either last night or the night before.
Right.
Awesome game, man. Absolutely
good
fantastic.
Ending?
Yeah.
Did it live up to the whole kind of hype you had kind of throughout playing it for hours?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get it for the story. I thought the story was going to be just a load of cheesy rubbish. But really, the side quests, you can choose your cheesy rubbish in the game. The side quests are all sort of cheesy, funny and corny. So if you want a bit of light relief, do a side quest. It's usually going to make you smile. Or maybe shake your head in in wonder and befuddlement. So you got the side quests for that. But the actual game was so well shot, gripping roller coaster of a story about the Chinese mafia and a struggle of power between all the different families for a certain piece of land that's intrinsic to the power of the Yakuza. And how everybody gets involved. You play 2 characters through the game who never actually meet throughout the game, but they end up striving towards the same cause, and they're both based in different cities. So you cut across, you'll finish a big chapter, and you're like, wow, that was amazing. And then it goes previously in the other town, and then it gives you a little recap of what's been happening with your other guy. And then you go back on the streets with him in another town. And at first you're thinking, okay, because they're not linked at all, these stories. And then later on, they sort of, maybe about halfway, it just gives one hint. And you're just kind of like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And it's good. It's so well shot, as I say. It's just really stylish. Sort of really stylishly well shot, the way that the story is played out in the cutscenes. It is a little bit that every time you have a chat with somebody, even if they're going to be an ally, it always ends up being a fight, and then the story carries on. There's always a fight. But the combat's quite enjoyable. In fact, I didn't get bored of the combat because it's just so full of impact. The way that it plays it out, like every point of contact is just got a massive crunch, and it's good fun. So I really, really enjoyed it. It's cool. And I forgot to mention when I was talking about it last time, I can't believe I forgot to mention it. Out of all the side quests, like there's some weird all the entertainment mini-game options. I mentioned the dancing. I think I mentioned the karaoke. There's bowling. There's pool. There's darts. There's a cat fighting club where you bet on you select a lady to win the cat fight. And you have to play a really weird game of paper, scissors, stone to sort of determine the winner or help her in a fight. There's what else is there? There's loads of different mini games in it. You acquire businesses as well. One of the guys, he runs properties, so he buys properties and collects the rent, and you upgrade the properties using different managers, and you employ security to keep them safe, and then you have to take down the other people who are running the different property syndicates within that particular city. That's pretty good, and that's a good way to get loads of money. The other guy in the other city, he runs the cabaret club, and for that one, you do a sort of a dinner dash mini game where you employ hostesses, and your customers come in, and you've got to match them with the right girl, get them drinks, make sure they're happy, sort out any trouble. And on that, you take the girls out for lessons in etiquette to make them better at their job. And then you could spend hours just. I think this is more of a thing that like girls would really love to do, like young girls, where you can just dress them up. You can buy them dresses and give them all different dresses and change their hair and change their eyes, and they get a rating, and the higher the rating, the more money they'll get off the customers and stuff like that. So that's quite interesting. But what I forgot to mention is there's a load of Sega games. You can go to Sega arcades within the cities. There's many dotted about. You can go in these arcades, and you can play on some Sega games. They've got some of those grabby machines where you grab cuddly toys, a little bit like Shenmue-esque. But you can also play. What did I play? Space Harrier.
Right.
Outrun. I think there might even be Hang On in there as well. So you can play these classic games.
Afterburner. Is Afterburner in there? You got a bit of...
It's got to be, really, because I'm sure I've seen a screenshot with him playing it, but I didn't go in there. I didn't really go in the arcades much. I had to go on Space Harrier, and I was kind of like, that's brilliant. I really love that it's good because it's in full HD as well, which is really, even though it's pixely, but it's really clear. Mm-hmm. It's better than sort of plugging in my old Commodore 64 and playing my port of it because it, or whatever. So yeah, I think it might have Afterburner, but yeah, I forgot to mention it's got all these old arcade games that you can play in there as well. So you got all these different diversions, all these different side quests that are amazingly eclectic in their nature. But the main story, man, is like just watching a really cool 80s Yakuza film. Really loved it. I really loved it. I thought it was just exciting. Couldn't guess what was going to happen at all. Some of it was a bit crazy. But just the way that it was shot and the music and it's all in Japanese with English subtitles. There's no English voice option to select.
Right.
It's the first time I think I've played a game like that, actually. And I've often read, I don't know if you've ever heard people say that they would, on an RPG, even if it's been done in English, they'd have the Japanese voice with the English subtitles instead.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, indeed.
This is the first time I've understood why, because I don't think an English voice could pull it off the same. It's just really good, So, absolutely loved Yakuza 0. There's 5 other games out in the West, I believe. Mm-hmm. And number 6, I think, is out in Japan, and is due to come out here, I think, this year. This was a prequel, Yakuza 0, and so these other games basically chronicle the life, I think, of the main characters, or one of the main characters more than the other one. From sort of say 89 onwards. I might be a little bit wrong there, but I'm on board, man. I hope that Yakuza 6 gets a Western release. I hope it's as good looking as this game. I don't think I'll play the others, just because I don't think I'll be tolerant for how dated they'll be technically. Right. Which I know that's wrong, but that's just me. But it's a great game because it's a prequel as well. you're not missing out. You're not really confused about, if you jumped in it, say, I don't know, one of the other Yakuza games, it may, I don't know, but it may be a bit confusing. But this, because it's a prequel, everything's explained from the start. And it makes me feel that even if I jumped in at 6, there's probably a lot of stuff that's happened. I bet loads of things have happened, considering how much happened just in this game. Mm-hmm. But at least I've got that background. So I'm well up for playing more of this type of game. It was really good. I said I wanted something refreshing and different. And, it really did feel refreshing and different. And it had lots of different things to do. So that was really cool. Also, the reason I'm drowning in games is because I was playing that and I saw an offer. There was a Humble bundle that came out called the Humble Freedom Bundle.
Right.
This game came out and it was something like $30 for $600 worth of games.
Wow.
And I thought, wow. So it's a PC thing. It's not a console thing. And I thought, well, I'll let's have a look what the games are. So I started looking through the list. I'll read a few. Maybe I'll read them all quick. The Witness was one. I thought, wow, The Witness. I thought that's more than $30 on its own.
I was going to say that's worth just getting that on its own. That's awesome.
I know. So I was like, right, The Witness, Day of the Tentacle. I mean, some of these we've got on consoles anyway, or they've been free or whatever on one of the consoles. But Day of the Tentacle, Invisible Ink, Octodad, World of Goo. I'm going to skip the ones I've never heard of. Super Hexagon, VVVVVV, which I've been after for a while. Stanley Parable, Guacamelee. What else have we got here? Waking Mars looks really good. Song of the Deep. I've just missed about 10. Ninja Pizza Girl, whatever that is. Subnautica, Super Meat Boy, Stardew Valley.
Wow. Stardew Valley as well. That sounds...
Yeah.
Wow, it's such a great bundle.
Yeah, Mini Metro, which is awesome. Rockets, Human Resource Machine. Nuclear Throne I've been after for a while. That's a shifty little roguelite. I've been after the Swapper that's been free. Swords and Sorcery, which I used to own on iPad, or probably still do. Super Galaxy Squadron EX. Just loads, man. I mean, I'm still scrolling through the list now. There's like... Let me just count these quickly. Or maybe I shouldn't. It'll take too long. Let me just have a look. 1, 2, 3. This is going to take... I don't know how many games there is here, but it's loads. And after I bought it, even more games started getting added to it. So, yeah, there's just loads. System Shock pack came out all of a sudden. I was like, wow, System Shock I've heard so much about. I've never played it. Double Fine Adventure Documentary. There's some ebooks there. Anyway, the bad news is that the offer's finished now. It was only on for about a week, but... It's just amazing, man. So I've had all these games. So it took ages just to go through that list. First of all, I got the codes for the ones that I knew I wanted. But then I was curious about all the rest. So I was like copying the title, pasting it into Google, having a look at the games, having a read about the games. Do I want to install it? Do I want to open the key up? That took me the best part of the morning, really. I got up at like 6 a.m. and sat doing that. I think Sam got up at about 8 a.m. I came down, he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm just going through all these games that I've just bought. I showed him the list. He was like, wow. So the games that I've played are Stardew Valley, that I've wanted for ages, which is it's really good. It's really good. Stardew Valley is a game, it's like a top-down pixel art 2D game in which you inherit a farm from your granddad and you're just left to do what you want in this village. You've got a farm, there's a town, which you can name anything you want. We call it Happy Farm.
Right.
That was my son's idea. I said, what do you want to call the farm, Sam? He said, Happy Farm. I said, okay. And then you can just do what you want. There's absolutely no hand-holding in it. Pretty much no instruction as well. To the point that I actually thought, maybe I won't bother with this game, because everything you do at the start is a massive chore. It's like you start digging because you're supposed to be farming, and you've got endurance or energy, and your energy goes down really quick when you're shoveling and stuff. And I was like, this is ridiculous. You can only chop one tree down, and you've got no energy left. You go to bed, but then eventually you level up from doing more chopping. So you can cultivate your land. Now I'm not very far in it, but you can cultivate your land. You can go fishing. There's a mine, and you can buy a sword. I think you get given a sword at first when you first enter the mine. You can go in a mine, and you venture deep down in the mines with ladders, and you can look for ore and mine for ore and diamonds and loot and treasure and stuff and sell it at the Adventurers Guild that you can join. You can befriend the people. It's like Animal Crossing as well, because there's all... It's not not in the way that it uses real time like Animal Crossing, but because the day-night cycle's quite quick in the game, actually. but in the way that there's events in the town all the time. You look at the calendar, the characters have birthdays. You can talk to all the characters. You can give gifts to all the characters and presents, birthday presents. I think there's a part of the game where you're supposed to make friends with them, but I'm too busy doing other stuff to even talk to them at the moment. You can go to the blacksmith and you can upgrade your weapons. You can plant your seeds and grow them into plants and vegetables and fruits and sell them to make more money, to then buy like a chicken coop or a stable and things like that, or other apparatus to make your farming easier.
So is there objectives then? So have you got like objectives that you need to be ticking off, or is it just completely free form?
You'll get a letter, you'll get some mail, and it'll say that somebody wants this or that, like, you know, the blacksmith wants some ore, so you can go and get that. And also some of the characters do give you, it does pop up with an objective. It says, for instance, what I'm up at the moment, because I'm not very far into it, it's achieve farming level 1 and build a scarecrow and get a chicken coop, which I was going to do. So I went to the carpenter woman to do that. But it was like, well, yeah, all right, you can have a chicken coop for like something like 2,000 gold and 300 wood. And I was like, I had 5 wood and like 100 gold, which was taking me ages to make. I was like, crikey, this is going to take me ages. How do you make money in this game? And I was busy adventuring in the mine. I was drawn to it. And then in the end, I was like, hold on a minute, let's just try growing some of these parsnips, because I've been given some seeds. And once I sold some parsnips, I made about 800 gold. I was like, the farming is actually quite key to making the money in it.
Right.
So I haven't got to to doing that bit yet. So I didn't pass that, but there's loads of others that I have done. For instance, one of the first objectives, it says, oh yeah, you've got your farm. It sort of comes through requests from the characters in the game, like the mayor that you meet. He'll say, oh, you've got your farm now, okay. Try this for advancement, plant and grow one and sell 1 parsnip or something like that. So you do that, but you can completely choose yourself. It's completely freeform what you want to do.
Wow.
It doesn't try and pressure you into anything. It just gives you these that you can do if you want. Apart from that, you just go around and find out, you choose your own thing, and it was nice. I really like it. So I'm playing that, but that's a game that takes it's a time swallower. So I'm trying to play that, but also I'm trying to play, now that I've put Subnautica on, that's also really, really taken my fancy as well. It's brilliant. Subnautica it's an early access game at the moment, and that is a game where you've crash landed on an alien planet that's completely covered in water. Your spaceship is in the sea ahead of you, all on fire. And you, at the beginning of the game, you escape in an escape pod and land in the sea, and you're safe in there. And it sort of reminds me of The Martian, something like that. You're just on your own. And in this pod, you've got a fabricator, which is a device which will craft useful items from blueprints that the computer knows, from things you can find from raw materials. It's a bit like Stardew Valley in a way, I suppose. You find stuff and you make stuff, you craft stuff. So after the crash, you're in your escape pod, there's a big fire, you pick up a fire extinguisher, you put the fire out, and all of a sudden the computer gives you a PDA. It says, well done on not dying. This PDA will help you survive, maybe. Study this well. This PDA contains blueprints of things that the computer knows how to build with the fabricator, if you can find the resources. And then you exit the pod and you exit it into the sea, where you dive, and so you're swimming around, just exploring under the sea, and it's absolutely stunning to look at, Anthony. Honestly, it's beautiful. The colours, it's like an alien but beautifully coloured coral reef. It's like the Great Barrier Reef or something, in beautiful clear water.
Wow.
With glowing, all different alien fish. I mean, the sea's alien enough as it is, isn't it? But there's all these different alien fish. They all glow at night time. It all comes to life because all the plants and the fish, they've all got spines that glow and stuff like that. And you basically swim around, exploring, finding bits and bobs, salvaging stuff, taking it back to the pod, crafting it to survive. You've got to keep an eye on your oxygen level, hunger, thirst, and your health. So there's 4 bars you're looking at: thirst and hunger ticking down all the time. And it's pretty good. Again, a game with not really a guide on what to do. So I spent a while just faffing around on my own. Got so far, and when I was happy that I'd sort of got to grips with it, I then went on a wiki and just read up about the getting started guides that are out there. And I thought, yeah, that's cool. That sort of tallies with what I've been doing. But it's a beautiful game. It's really good. I can't wait for the full access version, and that is even better because apparently, and I haven't tried this yet, it's Vive compatible as well.
I was just looking at a YouTube video while you were talking, just like a trailer, and I was like, this game just suits VR, because especially when you're underwater, you've got your goggles on, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it just kind of suits VR completely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, I've got it on 4K. I had it in 4K for a little while, but it went a bit choppy with the frame rate, so I took it out to 1080, but then I wasn't very happy, so I put it to 1440. So I've got it on 2K, and it looks, honestly, it's very beautiful, and it really does give you that feeling of being stranded. I really like that. You don't really get that. I don't get it in Minecraft, really. I do a little bit, I suppose, but because I played that for so long, and I've got all the even in survival, I'm quite comfortable in there, and this, it just takes me back to that feeling, and because it's quite realistic as well, it really makes me feel like you're alone, isolated. This pod is sort of your lifeline. You get back to it after a forage in the sea, you get back to your little pod, and you can actually think, oh yeah, I can really visualise how you'd feel safe there. It's like, okay, we'll just wait till morning, let's get some rest, and we'll get out there again. It's really good. And also it's got some good options, like if you can't be bothered with the management of your hunger and thirst all the time, you could turn them off. You can have a mode called Freedom. You've got Survival, where you've got to monitor oxygen, hunger, thirst, and health. Then you've got a Freedom mode, which takes away the thirst and hunger. So you've still got to watch out about getting hit, by baddies in the water and things like that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be constantly watching those 2 bars of thirst and hunger depleting all the time, worrying about that.
Right.
But also there's a creative mode which takes away all the bars, and it says just do what you want.
Oh,
so it can suit any style of play.
Yeah. But it's quite nice, I guess, having those 2 gauges to add that little bit of element of kind of, right, I've got to do this, then get back to my pod, recharge. Yeah. It's quite nice doing that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like that, because it sort of instills a bit of panic in you. And it really does make me feel like when I was reading The Martian, you feel for the guy. And you could just imagine it, and you're there bobbing in your little shelter, and you're thinking, wow, man, this would be terrible. But it's a cool game. I like it. It's a bit buggy, but it's early access. So, for instance, I got further than ever before yesterday evening. I found some more survivors, and I got to this beacon because I crafted, I think it was a sea glide, which is like a little propeller thing to drag you through the waves. And I got there, but it didn't render the terrain. So the signal, the place I was supposed to get to, just didn't exist. And I was kind of like, that's annoying. And I was like, oh, well, never mind. But because I'd enjoyed the journey of not really levelling up, but crafting up to that stage, I said to Claire, you know what? I'm just going to quit, because I think it's different every time. It sort of procedurally generates the area, I think, each time you play. Right. I just said to Claire, you know what? I'll just quit, start again another day, and I'll enjoy levelling up, and maybe I'll learn some more things, on the way. So, yeah, it's early access. It's got a few bugs and things in there. But, I got it in this bundle anyway. So it's awesome. I won't go on anymore. I'm talking too much about too many games, but Mini Metro's an amazing game. I think that's out on iOS, maybe Android. That's you manage railways or tube systems. Very simple interface, very addictive. That's really awesome. I'll leave it there.
I've heard a lot about Mini Metro, and like I say, it is on the iPad, isn't it? I'm very tempted to get this. I think this would be a really good kind of train game, obviously, with Mini Metro. It'd be a really good train game to play, no pun intended, but to kind of have a kind of a bit of a go on, or kind of like while I'm waiting for the Switch to come out, I guess. So
it's really cool. I mean, you start off, I think, with London, so it's got like the London River, so it's as if you're looking at an underground map, and then symbols which are stations appear on the map, and you just simply connect those symbols together because people want to get from one symbol to another. And every time you connect one, that's a line. I think at the start you get 3 lines and so many tunnels. And every week, if you survive for a week and everybody's happy, and there's no overcrowding, because if a station overcrowds too much, it's game over. If everybody's happy for a week, then you get an option to either get more tunnels, more lines, you might get an extra train or something like that, and it builds. And it starts off zoomed quite close in, and as more and more symbols appear and you do your lines more and more and you get more of an infrastructure, it zooms out and out and out and out, so it gets more complex.
Wow.
It's very good, almost instantly addictive and lovable. Really nice game. I was playing on PC and I loved it with a blooming with a mobile trackpad thing. And that was really good. We were all sat around together as a family doing it. I bet it'd be it's just, it just fits iPad perfectly. So that's a beautiful game as well. Yeah.
All right, I might download that for Nicola's iPad and just kind of go, ooh, I've put something on there and see what she does and see if she, kind of 1 o'clock in the morning still playing Mini Metro.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's going to love that game. It's a bit of a general statement, but it's just awesome. So this bundle, it finished probably yesterday on the 21st of February, and it made $6.73 million.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so all the proceeds gone to charity. Humble Bundle themselves said they'd match 300k of the proceeds. I don't know if they thought that they'd only just make 300k, but that's over and above the 6.73 million that they made, so it's going to be 6.76.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's made a lot of money, which is really great. I'm not surprised though. Such a good deal. I'll see if actually it's just gloating. I was going to say I'll put a list of the games in the show notes, but as you can't get them anymore, I won't bother. But what we will probably do, there'll be loads here that I haven't got time for, so we can give them away on Twitter or something, Anthony.
Okay. Yeah. We can give us. Can you do that then with Steam? You can kind of gift a code and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it worked for you, we'll test it with you first of all, and if that works, then we can gift a few of these out.
Yeah, absolutely, because you gave me Stanley Parable, didn't you? So I'm going to try that on my Mac, because that's all I've got. I haven't got a PC yet. Although, saying that, we do have a very high-end gaming laptop at work that I've got my eye on to borrow for a weekend.
Oh, well, you don't be wasting your time with Mini Metro then, or Stanley Parable on that, do you?
No, I'll be like Halo Wars 2, I'll tell you. But no, we've got it. It's down in our basement, and no one's using it at the moment. I was going to bring it home last Friday, but someone at work, one of my friends at work, gave me a stash of beer, and that was a big old heavy bag. So I didn't have time for like 2 big old heavy bags. So I chose the beer over laptops. So I might do it. I'm back in the office on Friday, so I might just borrow it for the weekend.
Oh, cool. Well. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything we could do PC-wise together, but to be honest, you probably just want to enjoy it on your own when you first get it. But if you can get that again in the future, let us know, and maybe we can do something on PC. Okay,
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I want to kind of bring it home, see what it's like. Like I say, I think it's like a Razer laptop. It's red, and it's big, and it's huge, and
it's not that one that got nicked, is it? With 3 screens.
yeah. No, it's just got
cat's out of the bag now, mate.
Yeah. I said it's a friend's laptop, but no, it's just like I say, it's sitting downstairs in our storeroom, and that just like so. There's a couple of guys at work where we're saying like, look, no one's using it now, so let's kind of rotate it. So think about getting like a wheelie trolley as well, so we can be like really hardcore.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. It's like I can see this though. Like you'll get it for the first week. It's like I'm getting that laptop. Oh, brilliant. Then next week's like, I was the laptop. Yeah, it's great. I've got one now.
Yeah. I'm into PC gaming and I love it. So yeah, I don't know what I can get. I don't know if the graphic capability of it, but it is a big gaming laptop with a very kind of meaty graphics card. So I guess like something like Halo Wars or Forza or Gears of War or something like that would be a really good test. So I'm gonna grab it when I go into the office on Friday. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm trying to think of games that would really show it off. I mean, Rise is always a good one. But it's not that great a game, but it certainly show the graphics off. Well, absolutely. I mean, the Play Anywhere titles, the Xbox ones, they'll be really good for that, won't they?
Yeah, the Unreal Tournament Alpha or Beta or whatever it is that's out there that's free to download. That's quite good. You can put that in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Loads of things. Awesome. You'll find it. Yeah. So what else have you been playing?
Well, speaking of 4K, there has been a couple of games on the PlayStation Network that have been updated for the PlayStation Pro, so for the PS4 Pro, and that has been Rocket League. Last night, Rocket League got a patch which took the graphics up to 4K and looked stunning. I did tweet that I now suck in 4K, so which was really cool. A couple of games of Rocket League, but I think the biggest graphical bump, or the most effective graphical bump that I've seen kind of this week, was Resogun's patch. So Housemarque Games put out a patch, maybe about a week ago, which took Resogun up to 4K and also HDR. And oh my God, does it look amazing? It looks absolutely fantastic. Now, Resogun looked great anyway. It was one of the prettier kind of PS4 launch titles, and it was a great game to play. But there's something about that 4K HDR kind of bump that is just incredible. I mean, you've been playing it as well, haven't you, Daz?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, this is just like you say, it was a beautiful game anyway. It's kind of like, we say this a lot, though. It's like, that couldn't be any better. You put that on when you got your PS4, or I did anyway, and I was like, wow, man, this is amazing. Look at those particle effects. You can't get better than that. This is what I got a PS4 for. Then you get this update. And I was thinking, like, how is this going to look better? And then it came on. I was actually worried that I wouldn't be able to see a difference, something like that. And it started up, and Resogun came across the screen, and it sort of shimmers in the middle. There's a streak of light across the title, and it was so bright. And I was like, "Whoa, the HDR's kicked in!" And then started the game, and you could just see that extra clarity. I think you used to describe it quite well, where you say it's like you rubbed your eyes, and it was. If you thought it was clear before, which I did. It's kind of like you can just see. It's like I can see. It's bizarre, but it's just so detailed and so beautiful, so shiny, and just pops, doesn't it? Now even more. It popped anyway, but it pops even more.
Well, when you get the kind of end of level explosion happens, or when you die, which happens a lot for me, for me, sitting there, it almost looks like Glasses 3D. It's that clear. The particle effects are just kind of bopping out everywhere, and I absolutely loved it. I was just like, I've got to have another go. It's just so shiny. It just is really cool, and I just absolutely just love that that Housemarque kind of went back to one of their kind of big titles, and they did this, and they kind of and again, the graphics are kind of, they're not breaking anything in terms of the processing power of the PS4, but to kind of bring them up, that and Rocket League, to bring them up to 4K, and I believe that's native 4K, isn't it, for both of those games?
Yeah, I think so.
To bring those up to native 4K, and with Resogun adding HDR, there's something now that I quite like when the top of my TV says HDR. It's quite nice now when I fire up a game and I get like, ooh, HDR. It's I quite like it. I was quite disappointed when I fired up Halo Wars 2 and it didn't do that. I was like, oh, no HDR.
Yeah, you feel a bit abandoned. You're like, what are you doing? Why aren't you catering for this state-of-the-art technology? When it pops up, you say it's like, new toy is being used. You're like, yeah, that's what I want. My toys want to be used. I don't want to have this stuff being left by the wayside.
You're absolutely spot on. It's like your purchase has been
your money was worth it. And there's a little pat on the back. Yeah. you did the right thing.
Oh my god, I'm going to chuckle every time I see that now. But yeah, I mean, there's like, and there's so many titles recently that have been given that bump. Hitman, we got sent a code for the full Hitman on PlayStation 4, and the graphics look better, but the HDR kind of really does make that pop. There's all those games. I also played Nioh for a while, which if you put into the movie modes, you get that kind of extra textures and locks at 30 frames a second and HDR. But I quickly sent that back to Boomerang, because that game was so hard. That was Dark Souls hard, and I've never played Dark Souls, so it's just like, so I was just packaged it back up and I just sent it back to Boomerang. Like,
so you're not the guy that just completed it in 96 minutes speedrun?
No,
and then sent it back.
I might have got out of the first room in 96 minutes. But,
wow. I look forward to having a look at that, actually. It looks interesting. I dismissed it as just a complete Dark Souls clone, but from what I read, it's got a lot of its own character there as well, so it looks good.
It's very cool. I really liked it. You start off in London. You're in this kind of you're in the cell in the Tower of London, and then you have to kind of as you get out, you're then kind of robbing all the guards of different garments, and by the end of it, you kind of come out looking like a kind of beefeater, but a badass beefeater, and so that was quite cool, and I really enjoyed that section. But it was so hard, and I had just started it again and again and again. So I just thought, this isn't for me. This isn't me. So I just
Did you get angry?
I didn't get angry. No, I was just I was a bit disappointed in myself. I'm like, I thought I was better than this. I was like,
I've had a hard day at work. I don't want to play this to feel disappointed in myself. Though I think you've just touched upon the next big mobile game that we could make, Badass Beefeater.
There you go.
That could be awesome.
Beefeater HD, obviously.
Endless runner, left to right. You just tap it to swing his Beefeater stick and beat people. Beef people. So cool. But sorry, mate, I'm going off on a tangent here.
But I mean, the thing with Nioh, and the reason why I did send it back, is because when I sat down to play a game, and Nicola's got back into Star Wars Force Awakens Lego Star Wars, so she's got back into that. So when she sat down to play that, I was like, oh, I'll play Nioh, and it just frustrated me. And I was like, I don't want a game I don't want a game that's going to frustrate me. I don't mind if I'm falling in love with the game, then a bit of a frustrating level is fine every now and then. You know, that's kind of doable. General Ram at the end of Gears was exactly that. You know, that took me and my brother-in-law, you know, ages before we actually finished it, I think, because we were doing it on the hardest level. So we had to watch that cutscene time and time again. But when we finished it, the elation was incredible. And that was fine, but just turning Nioh on kind of just frustrated me. So I was just like, no, I can't have this, you know, I can't have this game. So I just kind of packaged it back up, and I think the next one could be Ghost Recon Wildlands now, that's coming from Boomerang. So I've been playing Resogun, Rocket League in 4K HDR. I've also been playing Vertical Drop Heroes. So in that session, when Nicola was playing Lego Force Awakens, we got sent a couple of codes from Nerdoc Productions, from Nerdoc Games, for Vertical Drop Heroes. So I fired that up on the Xbox, and I absolutely love it. I messaged you, didn't I? I was like, you have to take this code because you've got to play it. You know, you have to play this game. And I'll find out kind of what you think in a moment, because you haven't put it in your list and you haven't really said anything to me, so I might be like way out on the limb. But what it is, it's Vertical Drop Heroes. It's a procedural generated platform RPG roguelike, where you are literally dropping from the top of the screen down to the bottom of the screen. Lots of platforms, lots of enemies to kill. The protagonists are, it's permadeath, but a bit like kind of Rogue Legacy, that when you kind of die, you go back and you're the second of that generation. So if you're Sir Sword a lot and you die, you go back and you're Sir Sword a lot too. And there's just kind of, so it's quite quirky like that. And then you kind of drop through the screen, and there's always a boss at the bottom of each screen. And obviously when you die, you go right back to the start, and then you just kind of go through there. And I am just having an absolute blast with this game. I love it. It's Vertical Drop Heroes HD. It's real kind of like twitchy kind of controls. You've got to be quick on the reflexes. But what did you think, Daz? Did you have a game?
Yeah, I've played it a little bit. I haven't got, because I think once you get past like the first 5 or the first 10 levels, does it then sort of save that and you carry on from deeper?
Yes.
Because I haven't done that yet. But the reason I've been a bit quiet about it is that, first of all, I've been drowning in other games, so it's been difficult to put the time in. So I was struggling with I felt it was a bit slow paced. I was struggling with what I felt was the slow pace of the game. You know, because he doesn't walk very fast. I know everybody else, you know, the whole game's balanced. It's relative to everybody else, but it's just like, I'm just dying to go a bit quicker. The other thing that I noticed was some of the grey rocks I sort of couldn't see. They didn't stand out for me, so I kept thinking that I would drop down and I'd end up standing on a grey rock, because they sort of blended into the background quite a lot, just for me. They're the only real observations I've got at the moment. I like the way that when you die, you get to pick from another 3 characters each time, and then you can spend the money at the merchants, and that carries on. It's very Rogue Legacy, actually, that bit.
It really is, isn't it? And I like that when one of my characters had a bow and arrow, and when I fired my bow and arrow, I had to go and collect my arrows.
Oh, cool. I don't think I've done that yet.
Yeah, that was so cool. So the bow and arrow was really cool. I could cheekily take out the baddies kind of across the level, and then kind of make my way over there to get a key, because in each level you've got chests to unlock, you've got characters to free, and then when you free the characters, they kind of let off a special, like a special within that level. And but yeah, when I had one that was an archer, you fire the arrows, and I didn't have any more arrows. I was like, and so I just jumped over that way and I picked the arrows up again, and then I could fire them again. So it's really cool. So you fire an arrow across the map, and then you've got to go and get it. I think you've probably got about 10 arrows, and it was just like, I was just really enjoying it. It looks superb. You know, it's such a great game.
Yeah, I'm undecided about it. It's very difficult for me to shake Rogue Legacy and Spelunky out of myself to see this with fresh eyes. It's really difficult. And just because, as I say, it just felt a little bit slow. But I need to play it some more, which I will do. It's not offended me that much that I don't want to play it or anything. I do want to play it. I need to get through, like, to the end of that first dungeon to really unlock what the game's about. I haven't really played it enough for it to get these hooks into me. You know what I mean? So I don't feel that I played it enough to really, really comment more than I have, which is why I was keeping a bit quiet. But it does look really nice, and it's a nice idea, and I like this sort of game. So yeah, it's pretty cool. How much is it to buy? Is it a bargain price?
Yeah, it is. I think
it's not going to be 40 quid, is it?
No. I think it's kind of about $10.99 or something like that, and on the Xbox Store. I'm just having a quick look now. I think it only came out last week. So yeah, this is available on both Xbox and or it could just be Xbox, but I think it might be Xbox and PlayStation. And this is
Steam.
It's on Steam as well. So you can
9 out of 10 on Steam. So people like it on Steam.
There you go.
It's just me. But I haven't said I don't like it. I just haven't played it enough. Yeah, and it looks like it's one of those games, infinite replay value, because it changes every time you play it, doesn't it? The level formats, the levels are all different all the time.
Yeah, the characters that you're playing are different, but like I say, it's kind of the equivalent, I guess, for you of going into a Gaucho's. There's all this really good steak, and, someone's saying to you should have a fillet, but really you just like ribeye. You like ribeye, and you like, so you enjoy that, and ribeye is your spelunky. I'm going to keep going with this analogy. I'm not sure where I started with this, but it is like that. It's just like, this is fitting, in that plethora of steaks.
Well, thanks for saying that.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
I'm not diverse at all when I only like one thing and nothing else will do. Cheers.
So I've been playing Halo Wars 2.
Yeah, let's go to Halo Wars.
Yeah, speaking of a franchise I can't shake, I've been playing Halo Wars. I'm playing Halo Wars 2. So I started playing that at the weekend, and that's got its hooks into me. I've played about 4 levels of the campaign, 5 levels of the campaign now, and I've also started picking up playing the Blitz mode as well. So, which is like a card-based system. You have kind of cards that you can kind of unleash, and so it's a capture 3 points. At the moment, I'm playing against the AI just to kind of get used to playing the game. You can play co-op. You can play co-op against the AI as well, or you can also take it online as well, but I'm not ready for that yet. But I've definitely been kind of having a whole load of fun with Halo Wars 2, and it looks fantastic, and it plays, for anyone who's a big fan of the first Halo Wars, even though it's a different developer, this feels exactly like Halo Wars. It's a great game, and I'm really enjoying it. And the one thing that is outstanding in this game is the cutscenes. They've got Blur Studios back again, doing the cutscenes. These guys did the Master Chief Collection. I believe they did Halo 5. Pretty much doing all the Halo cutscenes now, and the cutscenes are just incredible. I was so good that I ended up kind of watching one twice, because in the campaign you can replay the cinematics, and I just went in and just watched it again because I was just absolutely blown away by it. But the gameplay is fantastic. It's very cool. Even with a joypad, you can select different units. You can jump around the map quite easy using the D-pad. So it kind of compensates for the lack of keyboard and mouse. And it's, I'm just really enjoying it. Atriox is the main bad guy in this, he's been abandoned by the Covenant, and Atriox is just a scary character that I'd love to see some more of. So hopefully I don't take him out at the end of this game, because I would love to see these characters, these abandoned, these castaway characters from Halo Wars. I'd love to see those in the main Halo game.
Cool. Is it bolstered with the fine Halo soundtrack?
Yes, I tell you what, I'm absolutely kept playing. I sat the other night, headphones on. Nicola, she was playing games, and she was like, "Why aren't you playing a game?" She kind of tapped me on my shoulder, headphones on. She goes, "Why aren't you playing?" I said, "I'm just enjoying the title music." There's this track at the title, at the main screen, and I love it. It's so nice, and I just sat there, and I'm just zen-like, just listening to this music. And so the first thing I did was I just pulled out my phone, had a quick look on Apple Music for Halo Wars soundtrack. Halo Wars 2 soundtrack isn't there yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on it to see if it is, because the title song to this game, and I'll see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll stick a link in the show notes. But it's absolutely superb.
Yeah, Halo music, man. Through every game, it's the one thing I've found consistently delightful. Absolutely.
I have every soundtrack on my iPhone. So, whenever I'm kind of, working, or I'm on the train coming back from somewhere and I'm working, I just put that music on, and I just absolutely love it.
I bet it's quite good as you're working, as you're planning something out and working towards that goal. It's going sort of building up as you're doing it. I bet it gets you quite excited, even as when you're doing your mundanity on the train. It gets you all hyped up. It's amazing music.
especially like Halo 2 with like the Stevie Vai kind of stuff, and then the kind of the guitar kicks in, and you're like, oh yeah, this is just like. Then suddenly my project playing gets kind of like gets funky.
Doodles of Master Chief all over it. Your director's like, what's this?
What is this? What are you trying to tell us? But yeah, though, it's really cool. I'm really enjoying the Halo Wars. So that came out. I think it was yesterday it came out. I grabbed the Ultimate Edition, so they kind of gave you an unlock early. It's that thing that Microsoft seem to be doing at the moment. But the reason why I bought it was because there is a high-resed 1080p 60 frames a second version of the original Halo Wars. So I got that for that because I would love to, especially as much as I'm enjoying Halo Wars 2, I'd like to go back and play the original Halo Wars 2.
So you're going to sort of at some point play all, I mean, I don't know if they follow on from each other. Would it be worth like playing Halo Wars and then going straight to Halo 2 and it sort of follows on, or is it separate?
No, absolutely. You could definitely kind of do that, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away about the story, but yeah, though, absolutely, it would be very cool.
Cool. I wonder if they're going to bring out a Halo Wars Go or a Halo Go.
Halo Go, that would be quite cool, wouldn't it?
Because just thinking of the way that Halo Wars pans out, it's an RCS. Let's just swap that big map for squares or whatever.
Yes.
It's almost that they're missing out on money not doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, must be one of my favourite things is that when you're playing the Blitz mode, you can drop ODST into the map. And I just love that. I just love that so much. And they're just so cool. There's these big guys with flamethrowers, the Scorchers, you can drop those in. But it's really cool to see these cards because Microsoft seems to be using cards, don't they, across all of their games. You've got cards in Halo 5, you've got them in Gears of War, you also have them in Halo Wars 2 now. I think we had cards in Forza Horizon 6 as well. There was
cards or cards?
No, cards. You had cards and cars in Forza. But yeah, so it's quite interesting to see that this is the kind of running theme across all of the games.
Yeah, it's weird. Maybe they I wonder if there's a purpose or if it's just a trend.
Well, I guess it's just a way to kind of make you buy more of these cards, I guess, because you can buy packs, or obviously you can earn packs throughout the game, but it is a microtransaction, but I quite like the consistency. It's quite nice.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as long as they've got their microtransactions in place, then that's all right.
Absolutely. Superb. So that's what I've been playing. But before we jump to the news section, we've got a bit of housekeeping. And this Friday, speaking of cars, this Friday we're going to be doing our very first Gamers of the Lost Spark Car Club event in Forza Horizon. So I noticed that our car club, the Gamers of the Lost Spark Car Club, so good we named it twice. Suddenly there was a lot of members. We were getting more and more members. Obviously I gave it my game of the year. You, both yourself and James, also rated it in your top 3. And I think after that we started gaining more momentum and started getting quite a few members in our car club. So I wanted to do something with those members. So I kind of sent out a tweet to say that we're meeting this Friday. Obviously this pod's going to be going up it's probably going to be tomorrow. So we're probably going to put the pod up on Thursday. So the car club event will be on Friday at 8:30 GMT. Also reached out to our friends at Playground Games, who have given us some codes to give away during the event, so which is absolutely fantastic. So we've got some Blizzard Mountain codes that we're going to be giving away, some DLC codes. So we're going to have some tournaments, some racing fun, and we're going to give some codes away while we're playing Forza.
Yeah, such a great prize. Thanks, Playground Games, if you're listening. That's such an awesome thing to be able to give away some decent codes there, isn't it, for entering the little event? It's so cool.
Absolutely. Blizzard Mountain, one of my favourite pieces of DLC, because there's just so much there and it looks amazing. So it's really nice to be able to, big thanks to those guys, because it's really, really generous of them and really nice to be able to give those away whilst we're having some fun. So, if you haven't already joined the Gamers of the Lost Spark Car Club in Forza Horizon 3, search for the Gamers of the Lost Spark and then you can just join the club, and we'll be kind of having some events on Friday at 8:30 GMT. There you go. And also on Friday, a big shout out for James, because James and Rare are going to be doing Game Blast 2017 is happening at the moment. And on Friday, as part of Game Blast 2017 and the Special Effect charity, James and the rest of the crew at Rare are going to have a bit of a co-op game fest. Now they're going to be streaming this on Twitch, where it's twitch.tv/Rare, and they're also going going to be beaming it on Beam. So that's beam.pro/Rare Limited. And I'll put a link to both of these in the show notes. So they got Twitch and also got Beam. They're going to be playing lots of co-op games. So there's Overcooked, FIFA, Rocket League. You can tell James has picked all of these. There's Rocket League, Drawful, and somehow he's managed to put Hitman in there too. I'm not quite sure how that's going to be a co-op game, but so that's happening.
Maybe one's blindfolded. The one that's playing is blindfolded, and the teammate has to tell him what forwards. No,
that's it. It's like that Nightmare game when we were a kid. So both of those will be on Friday the 24th of February. James and the guys at Rare will be streaming from 6 p.m. GMT till 9 p.m. And again, that's on twitch.tv/Rare Limited and beam.pro/Rare Limited. And then 8:30, Gamers Lost Spark Car Club. Lots happening on Friday.
Wow. Clear your calendars for Friday.
Clear your calendar Friday. Get some beers in, and or other beverages may be applicable.
Other drinks are available.
Yeah. I'm going to stop off at my artisan beer shop and grab some beers on the way. See if I can get some racing themed beers and then kind of do that. So that's going to be good fun. So now it's time to jump into the news, and in this week's news section, Horizon Zero Dawn reviews are in, Nintendo Switch and Zelda reviews embargoes are close, and also the run-up to E3 has started already. So Darren, the first piece of news, sir, is with you.
It is. Wow, what a list. What a list of stuff coming up, Anthony. I can barely contain myself listening to that. It's awesome. It's like we're a real show.
I know, it's really good. There's just so much stuff.
Wow, it's amazing. This is what happens when we're away for 2 weeks. We can't contain the excitement. Oh, man. So, yeah, Zero Dawn reviews have dropped, as everybody will probably know. How did it do with the critics? Well, let's have a look. Thanks to Nioh Gaff's review thread, we can have an overview of how it's done. I must admit, I was worried. I was thinking, oh no, I hope everybody doesn't hate it, because it'll just make me think, oh, am I doing the right thing, getting it, and all the rest of it. But it looks really optimistic. Let's go through some scores. Metacritic, the average of all the critics' score is 88 currently as we speak at around 8:20 on the 22nd of February. 88's a good score, isn't it? 88's a good score. I'm just trying to look quickly now.
I've already. Have you pre-ordered this? Are you getting yours from Boomerang? Have you pre-ordered it?
I was getting it from Boomerang.
Right.
But I've ended up getting snared by the hype machine, and now I'm in two minds. I don't know whether to just buy it. I just don't know what to do. So now I don't know what I'm doing.
Right, I bought mine digitally. I've downloaded. I bought mine digitally. It doesn't download until the 27th. There's currently a countdown. When you go to Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation Network after you've bought it, you get a countdown to when the game's going to unlock, and it tells you that it's going to start downloading on the 27th. So that's Monday, isn't it? Yeah. So on Monday the game is going to start downloading, and then it unlocks at midnight. On the 28th of February, the 1st of March.
Wow, awesome. Well, I wanted to look just to compare that 88 Metacritic score. I wanted to just go to Metacritic and look at what the top games were, but I'm finding the site a bit. I thought I'd just kind of like rap while you were doing that. Obviously not rap, but just kind of talk about kind of my downloading while you were doing that. All the time I was rushing around, but I can't find a simple page that gives me the all formats. I can't find it quick, so I might have to leave that, which is a real shame.
But I'm very excited about this because this was one of the titles that they showed when they released the PlayStation 4 Pro. There was this, and there was Spider-Man, and also is it Days Gone as well? There was those kind of three titles that were the big titles that they were showing kind of the power of the PlayStation 4 Pro. So I'm expecting big things from this, to look kind of stunning. And Eurogamer have kind of already kind of given me that it's all right, because they've done a comparison. Digital Foundry have done a bit of a comparison, and they said, this game looks amazing on the standard PlayStation, but if you have a PlayStation 4 Pro and a 4K TV, this game just it really does kind of up it. And looks fantastic.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that, because I managed to find the page. Basically, the best Metacritic scores of all time. 99 is the largest one. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the N64. And then I won't read it anymore, because basically after 100 entries, we're only at 94. So there's a few good ones there. Soul Calibur on Dreamcast is number 4. Oh, brilliant, because I always love that's one of my favourite games of all time, so that's good. Anyway, I'll stop looking at them.
Step away from that list.
So, yeah, it got 88 on Metacritic. Giant Bomb gave it 5 out of 5. Independent UK gave it 10 out of 10. Who else have we got? PlayStation Lifestyle, 10 out of 10. Twinfinite, 5 out of 5. Telegraph UK, 5 out of 5. Cheat Code Central, 4.9 out of 5.
Good old Cheat Code Central.
XGN, 9.7 out of 10. Australian Gamer, 9.6. Jew Video, whatever that is, 18 out of 20. Let's find some we've heard of. God is a Geek, 9.5 out of 10. Polygon, 9.5 out of 10.
Wow, so it's getting good scores across the board. So are you going to be playing this, if you get it, whether it's Boomerang or whether you buy it, are you going to be playing it that day, or are you going to wait for Claire to get home? Or because I've taken the day off work.
So it's next Wednesday, isn't it?
It is.
So we're podding in the evening. So
yes.
what I was...
to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn.
So I think what I'm going to have to do, I'll play it so we can talk about it, and then Claire won't be able to see it when she gets home because I'll be podding, and then after the pod, I'll start again. I think I'll start again for her. If the beginning is phenomenal enough to justify it, if I think, my goodness me, and I hope that's what I'm hoping for, that is something that needs to be seen, then I'll just start again and play with Claire. Or I could just do a new save, couldn't I? Show her the beginning and then carry on from where I got up to. So one of those, really.
Yes.
But I may just start again, because I'll have played it for probably a few hours, not too much to, that'd make it really daunting to start again. And what I'll have learned, a little bit like my Subnautica story, what I'll have learned in that playthrough, I can apply from the beginning, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll be all right. Maybe it'll be that good that I'll just want to enjoy the beginning again. This is how excited I am. I'm just like, wow, it's so good. Yeah. I'll just start again. I'm
worried about the battery life on the PlayStation 4 controller, because I only have one, and it's not that great, is it? It does. I don't know how much gaming I'm going to get, because I'm thinking I've got the day off. I could get up early, or I could just wait until Nicola's gone. Do Nicola's lunch, kind of have a cup of tea with her in the morning, coffee obviously for me, and then kind of pack her off at kind of 9 o'clock, and then turn the surround sound up and just kind of sit down in the movie room and play it. Or I could get up at 6:30 and then start playing it, and then kind of just do it from there. But there's, the review that I kind of started listening to and then stopped was saying that they were about 30 hours in to finish it. So and the other reviewer was saying that there was about 41 hours and he still hadn't got to the end. So it was about 87%. So I think it's one of those games where it's a little bit open. You can play around. You can do side missions, etc. But this game just looks
this
phenomenal.
Is the thing that made me start to think about buying it rather than renting it, because I don't really want to have a game from Boomerang for months and months and months, because I want Boomerang to be like a boomerang. Keep throwing it back, getting another one. My first impressions of Horizon was that it was more of an Uncharted game. I think I said to you, I was like, this is a story game, get it done in 7 or 8 hours, 14 hours, and then that's it, single player game, like just a story-based thing. I didn't realise that it would have comparisons to the likes of The Witcher and stuff in its play mechanics. And that's what I'm reading more and more, is that it is really an open map. And I didn't realise, a pleasant surprise. Didn't realise, and it was that... finding that out that just sort of made me stop and think, because if it's as good as I'm expecting it to be, and if I'm going to like it as much as I'm expecting to like it, and this really seems up my street, I don't want to feel rushed to send it back to get something else. So it's one of them really where I'm thinking I might just buy it. I also thought I might just wait, because it's in my list. It's the only thing in my list from Boomerang. If I don't get it on day one, I'll just go out and buy it. But give them a chance to get it to me. A test. This is your test, Boomerang. I want Horizon I want it Zero Dawn on 0 day. And if I don't get it, then I'm stumping off to buy it, and I'm cancel my membership. So yeah, I might buy it, because I finished Yakuza. I've got space for this, and it's not just the sort of Uncharted, end-to-end linear game that I thought it was. If it was linear, then there'd be no question I'd just rent it, because I think we had a conversation once, and I said to you, I'm trying to change my idea on this, and if it was like Uncharted or The Last of Us, something like that, where it's like a one playthrough thing, a linear story, I should really just rent it, because there's so many games to get through. And that's where I was with this, but it isn't that kind of game. Surprisingly, I find out that it's not that kind of game. Maybe everybody else knew that for ages, but I was dark on it. I was trying not to get spoilers. So it's a happy surprise, but I don't know where I am. I might end up buying it. Even if it arrives on day one, I'll probably buy it and say if something else comes out that I want, I'd probably buy it and send it back, if that makes sense.
But I think with Boomerang, and the reason why I think it's such good value is that you could hold on to a game for 3 months and you would still be. You'd still be quids in, because if you think about
it'd be 33 quid, wouldn't it, for 3 months for a premium title?
Exactly.
So you'd still be. There's no way I'll be playing it for 3 months.
No.
Because it's going to be. I get the feeling it's going to be something that we're going to be wanting to play. I'm hoping that it is. I mean, I don't know yet. I mean, I remember when The Witcher came out and when Metal Gear came out, we were talking about it for weeks on the pod. And by the way, your pad thing, just plug the wire in.
Yeah, I guess I can. It's quite far away. I was just thinking, actually, I do have an extension USB cable, which I used for when I was playing Disney Infinity, so I could always do that. It's just from the sofa to where the PlayStation 4 is, it's quite far, and the lead will not reach.
Yeah, or you could do the 6:30 thing. Then when you're sorting out breakfast and what have you, and doing your coffees and sorting Nicola out,
charge it back in,
put it on charge.
Yeah.
Then you're all right. But then when it runs out of charge, you're going to have to get the unsightly cable across the floor.
Oh my God, how will I live? I can just, whenever I'm making a cup of coffee, I can plug it back in, just kind of keep it topped up. I was thinking about buying another one just in case. But for me, I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait to play Horizon Zero Dawn. But I am also worried because Zelda Breath of the Wild comes out on Friday. So this comes out on Wednesday. Breath of the Wild comes out on the Friday. And, as much as I can't wait to play Horizon Zero Dawn, and when I saw it at Gamescom a couple of years ago, and Nicola and I sat through a presentation, I was just, my jaw just dropped, and I can't wait to play this game, but I just really want to play Zelda. So for me, I'm not rushing it, and obviously just playing it for 12 hours on Wednesday is not going to, it's only going to get me about 50% of the way through, but I really want to kind of get a good chunk of this game out of the way, because Breath of the Wild, if it plays as well as it looks, then Breath of the Wild just looks like it's going to be an amazing game.
It's a shame, isn't it, because they're quite similar as well. And it's a shame that you feel that you'd have to press through Horizon in order for Zelda, because if Horizon's as good as we hope, then it's something that should be savoured, not rushed through. I almost think you're doing yourself a disservice by rushing through.
Well, I guess the best thing for me about Zelda is that it's on the Switch, so I can play it on the go. When I've got a couple of trips to Manchester, I can
Horizon at home.
Horizon at home. Yeah, exactly. Horizon's the wife at home, and Zelda's my little Twinkie on the side,
mistress.
But so we've got that, and then obviously towards the end of March, is it the end of March? You've got Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah,
and then we've got Persona 5 not long after that, which I'm quite interested in as well.
April, hey, that's on my Boomerang list, Persona 5, and it's so good. I love the landscape, it's just fantastic. But if Horizon and Zelda could have just been a little bit further apart, I'd be happy. But as it is, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna have a day off on Wednesday. Might even have a day off on Friday as well for the Switch, now that my local game is not doing a midnight launch. Thanks very much. You stuffed my plans up. But now they're not doing that. I might even have Friday off, so I might be able to just kind of play that while the Switch is charging or something. So lots of gaming fun next week.
Yeah, and like you say, 2017 is shaping up well. The consoles have hit the stride.
Absolutely.
This year. There's been some predictions on sales as well for Horizon Zero Dawn from GameSpot, who've been in contact with Superdata, who are saying that they reckon that Horizon Zero Dawn may sell millions of copies this year and go on to become a hit on the level or close to Uncharted 4 and Metal Gear Solid 5. That's what they're expecting.
Easy.
Which is unusual or surprising, because this is a new IP compared to those which are, greatly respected, embedded IPs, that have been going on for years. They're saying that they expect that it may shift as many as 6 million copies by the end of 2017. And that total sales could reach 8 million, which would put it very close to Uncharted and Metal Gear. They say that it's a key moment for Sony because they've sold so many consoles. It's kind of natural that the sales would slow down of the console, so they need more than the hardware to get the more gamers, to get those sales in. So it's very important now for probably Microsoft as well, but to get these amazing AAA games out there to keep that money coming, to keep that momentum up. So they're saying that it's a key moment. They mentioned something about Sony's latest earnings report, which shows that the PS4 sales have increased year over year, but recent MPD data shows that overall hardware dollar sales in the US have fallen, and that's probably just because it's hit a ceiling. But what they need to do then is that's when the hardware's maybe dried up. Everybody that's going to has got one. And that's where the software becomes even more key, doesn't it? Because for a start, it's going to keep that cash flow going for the existing user base. But also, a game like Horizon Zero Dawn is also predicted not only to do that, but also that's a game that could tempt people who up to now haven't bothered getting one to jump in and get a console. It's a console seller. So it'll be interesting. I mean, only time will tell, but that's what SuperData are predicting. That's what SuperData are predicting. So, it'll be interesting what happens there.
I mean, it's still quite interesting, isn't it? Because, a title like this, which is everywhere, I saw it, I was in Manchester yesterday and I saw it, and, my train, it was on my train, it was in the tube, it was on buses, it was everywhere, it was on the free paper. But it only sells kind of 8 million when there's 45 million consoles out there, and that's always because you always expect these to be double figures, don't you? Because it's this is one of the reasons why you bought a PlayStation, but still, 8 million is not a figure to be balked at, is it?
Yeah, why is it only less than a quarter?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of mine. I was like, what? I'm more kind of it's not that the title is a bad title, but I'm just thinking, what's everybody playing? Because at some point there's got to be a game that sells 20 million. Because it's what's everybody playing? What have you bought your PlayStation for? And maybe everyone's waiting for Crash Bandicoot.
What have you bought your PlayStation 4 for?
What have you bought your PlayStation 4 for? Yeah, that's just.
But what about I'll address the elephant in the room, right? You might not have noticed it, but I was just thinking as we were talking then. So it's shaping up to be a good year for Sony, really, because we've had Resident Evil PSVR. That's all for Sony. Nioh's a Sony game, coming in with great reviews, a lot of love for that. Horizon Zero Dawn, spectacular by all accounts, it seems. Where are the equivalent games on the Xbox?
Well, funny you should say that, because there is a news item in the show notes, which I'm happy to get to now and address it now, because last week Phil Spencer did kind of he did a letter on the Xbox.com, and also Major Nelson covered it as well on the Xbox Dash, which was about kind of just what's coming in 2017 and the kind of epic games that are kind of coming within the Xbox lineup, and the games. I
think someone twisted his arm because of that point that I've just made. We need to do something here.
But we've just had Halo Wars 2. Yeah. We've just had
that doesn't count. That's not an equivalent though, is it?
So the other games that we've got State of Decay 2. We've got Crackdown 3.
Right. Okay, that's a contender, but
we've got Sea of Thieves.
Okay.
We've got Phantom Dust, Voodoo Vince. These are just.
I haven't heard of half of these. You've said two that sound good, some that don't sound good, and some I've never heard of. It's not got the what's the word?
Gravitas.
It doesn't have the gravitas of what we've seen already on Sony, and it worries me a bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, Microsoft don't care. They've had my money already. I've got an S. I bought an Xbox One, and I'm getting a Scorpio. But what are they doing for everybody that wants to see? The people that are on the fence thinking, where shall I go? Oh, well, there's Horizon, and there's Nioh, and there's this, and there's that. I'll go that way. Where's Microsoft's answer to that?
No, absolutely. We lost Scalebound, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Scalebound kind of going. So with Scalebound going, that I think was a big hit. Don't you think, for the kind of PlayStation lineup? I think that, the Xbox lineup, I think that was a big kind of kick for that, because that would have easily have kind of combated that Nioh. If you put them in boxes, those two would have kind of cancelled each other out. But you're absolutely right. Horizon Zero Dawn looks absolutely fantastic. And that's a game that I just can't wait to play. We've got God of War later, and there are some fantastic titles, like I say, in this letter, and there was also a really good YouTube clip that I will stick in the show notes, which is basically Major Nelson talking to all of the studios about the titles that are coming out, and State of Decay looks absolutely stunning, and there was also AC Bongos chatting to the guys at Rare about Sea of Thieves, which is looking fantastic. Crackdown 3, I'm convinced that's going to be a Scorpio title, or better with Scorpio title, because I think all of them are going to be you need to be backwards and forwards compatible, but we've got Scorpio coming as well, so and E3, we're going to probably get some more. Maybe there's something that they're holding up their sleeve.
Yeah, is State of Decay a zombie game?
It is indeed, yes.
It's just that we've got that other game on PS4 that they showed that looks amazing as well. So that's got an instant competitor on PS4.
Yeah, that's Days Gone, but I don't think. I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see Santa Monica Studios Days Gone. I don't think we're going to see that this year. I think that's probably going to be next year. I'll be surprised if we see that this year. But yeah,
that's fair enough. The thing is that I'm sort of seeing and getting the feel about like Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's take that for instance. I get the feeling about that game. I could be wrong. I get the feeling with the hype, the marketing, and my personal excitement, which doesn't mean anything because, it's what everybody else thinks. But I get a feeling similar to what I got for the first Gears.
Yes.
When Microsoft brought out the first Gears, okay.
Yes.
I probably was even more hyped for Gears because I think that, I don't know, they maybe marketed it for longer or something like that. I don't know. But I feel this is a similar sort of pivotal moment, a pivotal release of something really quality that's going to be remembered years down the line. I hope it is. I could be wrong. But that's the feeling I get, okay?
No pressure then for Horizon.
Yeah, no pressure, Horizon. Is that I don't feel that there's an equivalent gravitas game on the Xbox, apart from maybe Crackdown 3. But that's like who knows when.
Well, hopefully Crackdown. I mean, this was the whole point of this thing that Phil Spencer put out, and the YouTube clip that I'll stick on the show notes, is this was all about the first parties that are coming out in 2017. So if this is right, and all of them said that it was coming out this year, so if that's true, then we have got Sea of Thieves, we have got State of Decay, we've got Crackdown 3, so those games are coming out in 2017.
Okay, that's good, but they're still falling behind if they don't come out to the end. When you've already got, quite two or three quite amazing games that have come out by now
absolutely.
on PS4. It's just surprising because Microsoft have got so much money, they've got teams of people. It's just, I don't understand where the exclusives are.
And I think you and I, we saw this happening because we've had a couple of holiday seasons when PlayStation have relied heavily on the third-party titles. They've relied heavily on those EA, Ubisoft games, and they never had any first-party titles. And we knew that this was coming, that at one point, PlayStation are going to catch up and go, here you go, with lots of AAA first-party titles. And that's what we're seeing now, isn't it?
So they've been beavering away doing that. And then if we flip that, then that's what Microsoft are doing now. They're beavering away, and we're going to get hit, hopefully, with a whammy of amazing games that we've maybe never heard of by E3 or something like that. I think they're going to have to pull out all the stops at E3, aren't they?
Yeah, 2018 probably will be another stellar. And I think this is how it went last generation as well, where we had that flip-flop, where it was like, this is a really good year for PlayStation, now this is a really good year for Xbox, and then it was just, it kind of went in swings and roundabouts like that. And I think that's what we're seeing, because we did moan a couple of years ago, or a year ago, where we're going, where are all the first-party titles for PlayStation? And here they, they are, and here they are, and then good ones for me, not so sure about for you, but for next year, maybe we're going to get Halo, maybe we're going to get another Gears, we're going to get those games. So for me, very exciting. So those ones are coming along. But you're right, they have to throw a new IP in. This year, we're getting Sea of Thieves is our new IP. That looks, and it's shaping up to be a really good co-op, get your friends around kind of playing game, and that's what we're going to have this year. But for Xbox, it is going to be some sequels this year. But by saying that, State of Decay 2 looked fantastic. The bit that they show in that clip that I'll stick the link in the link looked amazing. Driving around, opening your door, taking out zombies, permadeath on your character, co-op which never happened in State of Decay in the original one. So you could really kind of hanker down and kind of build a commune with with co-op buddies, and I quite like the idea of that. And then obviously Crackdown 3 is just Crackdown. If Crackdown 3 is anything like Crackdown 1, we've got a really good game on our hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's early days. You know, I'm mouthing off here, but it's early days. I could be eating my words in a few
on the
months.
money, I think.
Oh, thanks, mate. But this is the beauty of having competition in the industry, isn't it? You know, if one's doing well, the others are not doing so well, but still getting brilliant games, and then they're playing catch up, and then we get brilliant games from them. All the better for us. Just means you've got to have both systems, which luckily we have, so that's okay.
Indeed. I mean, while we're talking about Xbox, it's worthwhile noting, we did tweet it out at our Gamers Lost Park account, but it's worthwhile noting that the E3 briefing has been moved from Monday to Sunday. So instead of it's normally on a Monday at about 5:30, I've normally finished work, go down to the movie room, get everything set up, and normally kind of watch it there. But they've actually moved it now, and it's on not just for me, but they've moved it to the Sunday. So it's Sunday, June the 11th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, which equates to 10 p.m. UK time. So 10 p.m. on the Sunday, we're going to have the E3 briefing. So this is really good. I think this is kind of. Obviously, the Monday, I love the Monday because it's normally Microsoft, then you have like an hour gap, and then it's EA, where you kind of don't really care, and you kind of go and do something else, and then it's Ubisoft, and then there's a bit of a gap, and we normally watch Game of Thrones, and and then it's and then PlayStation at about 2 a.m. and kind of stay out for the whole lot. But this way, we're going to have Microsoft's briefing is on the Sunday. What do you think? Do you think they've done this to give Scorpio 24 hours before anyone kind of steals thunder or kind of catches the news as well?
Maybe. They didn't just do it because of my rant just then, did they? It wasn't like half the press or after I started speaking. I don't know. I mean, I'm quite happy with it, really. If anything, though, it probably gives the competitors longer to steal their thunder, doesn't it? You know, if they sort of said anything, I don't know, like when they started saying about the DRM and stuff like that, and Sony came out and just said, well, we won't do that, it would give the other team longer to formulate, how to respond to that serve, I suppose, maybe. But I'm quite happy with it. It means Sam will be in bed.
Yes.
So I get to watch it in peace, which is good. Not that I could watch it with him, but I have to edit it because I don't know what's coming, so it's quite difficult to watch.
Exactly. I mean, and you'll say it in peace. You'll have me kind of messaging you, going, "Oh my God, did you just see that?" But judging by the email that was sent out, the image on the email was it was the one that we've used a couple of times when we were talking about Scorpio on the pod. It was that one of that chipset with the Xbox logo and the kind of 4K. So it's definitely, Scorpio is definitely coming in E3 this year.
Oh man, I can't wait. I mean, yeah, we've discussed this already. Let's just temper our expectations. Maybe it's not going to be the 4K 60 frames per second beast that perhaps it was hinted at when they first announced it last year. But I'm certain it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be good.
But last year, Microsoft had a fantastic E3, didn't they? We were kind of, by the end of it, you were spent because they just kind of kept hitting you with kind of left and rights of really good games and great announcements and stuff like that. And we filled our E3 extravaganza, our second E3 extravaganza easily with all of the stuff that just kind of came from the Microsoft conference.
And this year, the public can pay to go.
Yes, E3's open.
That's a news item not on the list.
I tried to get tickets. A moment of madness. I tried to get some tickets for E3. The problem being was when I got all the way, I had to wait. I was walking around. I was walking around with my phone, waiting. I had to wait an hour because I was in a queuing system. I actually had my telephone plugged into a power pack that was in my pocket. It was like I was playing Pokemon Go. Plugged into a power pack. I was walking around trying to wait, and I went down from, I think it was like a couple of thousand, and it took an hour to kind of get there. And when I got there, I filled out the form, but it would only allow me to buy one ticket. So obviously, if I was going all the way to LA, I'd be taking my good lady wife with me. We were already kind of, as we were walking around, we were formulating maybe we'd go on holiday and we'd fit it in on our holiday, but I could only get one ticket. So I backed out at that point because I was expecting when I got to the end it was like, how many tickets do you want? 1 to 4, but I backed out. Quite happy that I did now because I'm not sure how it's shaping. I don't know if this is going to be that they're allowing all of these people into the normal, or if it's going to be a bit like Gamescom where you have the press section and then you have the games. So it's kind of happy accident that it didn't happen. I haven't since. I think there are still some tickets available, so I could go on and get one for both myself and Nicola, but I'm glad that I was challenged by it and I decided not to do it because I was very hyped and I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to E3, which is a big bucket list thing for me. I know you've already been, but for me it's kind of like it's a big bucket list and I really wanted to go, and I was but luckily kind of fate kind of got in the way because I'm just not sure how it's shaping.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was going to ask you. Do you think that this is? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a reaction thing to a dip in revenue as more and more people don't show at E3? Though maybe some of the big players aren't spending as much money. I mean, obviously Nintendo have backed away. Do you think there's been a dip in their expected revenue, which has caused them to open the doors to the public to make that money back? Or do you think they're just being nice?
No, I think it's definitely a dip in revenue. I mean, last year, Disney, EA, they stepped away, leaving a big hole. There was a big empty space in one of the halls, and I think they're doing this. They're looking at the likes of Gamescom and saying, those guys allow, they have both press and people to go in, and they make a huge revenue, and it's always packed, it always sells out. So they're obviously trying to create something like that. But I guess my worry is that I think of I think of E3 as the bygone years of E3, where there's all this brand new stuff. But if they suddenly allow 1,500 or 15,000 people in, over those 4 days, are they then going to take all of that exclusive stuff and then start putting that behind closed doors for just press to see? Where at the moment, even though non-press get in because it's very easy to trick the E3 application to kind of get in as press, but the moment you start bringing the public in, do they then try and take any of the rough-looking games and they hide them away and just show them to press? Because, press have seen all of these before. They know what to do. They know when they see a rough game, what that means, that it could potentially improve. Where if anyone kind of just goes there and they go, I was really looking forward to that game, and then they see an early rough build, then they might not buy it and they could potentially harm sales, So are they going to do that? Are they then going to create, like I say, at Gamescom, there's a whole side of it which is purely for press.
Yeah, and I think you need that because otherwise it'd just be bedlam. When I went, it was press only, and the queues were a nightmare then.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think it probably makes sense from a revenue point of view. As for an experience for the public and a comfort experience, or a comfortable and enjoyable experience, not sure how well that would pan out, but that would all be down to the exhibitors organising it well, wouldn't it? So we'll see the reports, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll see the reports.
Absolutely. I'm in two minds. EGX is obviously happening this year. We've got Rooster Teeth coming to London as well. So there's some European Gamescom. There's some European ones that maybe I'll go to. It was just like I say, I was very caught up in the moment, and if I'd have been able to get 2 tickets, then we would have been going to LA for a holiday. But luckily, kind of fate stepped in, and we didn't get them. So. Maybe
that's for the best. Maybe the public being in there is the end of it all, and you wouldn't be seeing the real E3. But maybe one day when the sparks are massive, mate, we'll both be there as honoured guests.
Absolutely, we'll have a live podcast right from there. So, next piece of news is with me, and the next piece of news is kind of, we're going to go into a bit of a switch corner here. Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, we're kind of a week and change away from Breath of the Wild coming out on the Switch, obviously on Wii U as well. But last week, while we were out, Nintendo announced that they're going to have expansion pass for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So this expansion pass, it costs $17.99 in the UK, €20 or $20 as well, and it's going to basically it's Season 1 pass, so this Season Pass is going to have 2 DLC packs. The first one is going to be arriving this summer, and it'll add a new Cave of Trials, so which is a challenge mode and an increased difficulty on a challenge that you can already, on a cave that you can already find within the game, and also a hard mode for the game as well, and also some additional map features as well, whatever that means. It's in quotes, map features. So they're going to add a hard mode to the game, more challenges for something called a Cave of Trials. So that's DLC 1 pack, which sounds interesting. And then obviously they've got then DLC pack 2, which is going to launch in the winter, and it will add a new original story, new dungeons, and also additional challenges. So they're being a bit vague on the second pack, but the first pack is kind of detailed and will be coming out in the summer. So interesting that we're getting. I know we had DLC for Mario Kart, but we're getting DLC for Nintendo games. This is quite interesting.
Yeah, they obviously like the trend. I must say, I thought the Mario Kart Season Pass was quality and worth the money. One of the few DLC or Season Passes, if you like, that I bought, and I thought it was well worth the money, and it was quite exciting waiting in the run-up for the new one to be released. And I did sort of feel in them days when I bought it that I could trust Nintendo. I think the first one was sort of announced, and I thought, oh wow, that's good, and they promised like 2 or 3 down the line. And just by the first one, you just had a feeling. Or did they announce it at the start? And they said there's going to be 4 new tracks, and then 4 new tracks, and then 4 new tracks. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
I think it was at the start. I think they were very kind of a bit like this before the game came out. They were very open about the DLC.
Yeah, and that was good. That was really good, and I felt that it was good value. And every time it came out, I put the game back in, started playing Mario Kart again. Obviously, it's a bit different with an open world game. You can't just add another world. So that they're going about it a different way. What do you think? Do you think this sounds like something that you'd want to invest in?
Based on the first...
You're getting Zelda, aren't you?
I am indeed. So Zelda's going to be my Switch launch title. Pretty much the only game that's available at launch. So it's going to be my first. It's going to be my first launch title, and my first kind of game that I play, and probably the only game that I play for a while. But I'm not sure about the DLC. One of the things that did make me chuckle was that it includes exclusive in-game clothing. So you have Link, wearing his garb as he normally does, looking kind of very Link-like. But this Season Pass will give you a Switch T-shirt. It will give you, I don't want Link running around in a Switch T-shirt.
Why would he do that? He's not into his merchandise, Link.
No, he needs that kind of tunic. He needs very much kind of, and something just to have like a Switch T-shirt just seems very strange. Next thing will be like a Mario hat, and he get to run around in a Yoshi. And it'll be very bizarre. But I don't know.
Big head mode.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. The first pack, I'll wait and see on this one. I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to buy it when I pick up my Switch. I'm going to wait and see on this one, because the first pack doesn't really do anything for me. A hard mode for the game, new trials, those things, they don't tick any of my boxes. Obviously the second pack, which adds a new original story, new dungeons, that sounds interesting. So whether I wait for the second pack and then just buy that expansion pass in the winter.
Yeah, that's all I need though, Anthony. Your comments there, it's a dud. If you're not going to get it, that's it.
Yes.
It's dead. They may as well not release it. But yeah, it doesn't set my world alight.
No, I know it's only $17.99, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't do it for me. That first pack. If the first pack was more story, more dungeons, and that, then I might be like, oh yeah. But then bear in mind, in the summer, I probably will have finished the game by then, so I probably would be looking forward to that. But I'm happy to play Zelda, park it, and then when in the winter, when they bring out this new pack, then just pick it up then.
Yeah, and you say only $17.99, but if you add that to the RRP, whatever it is at the moment, 40 quid, 45, I don't know what the game is, then let's say it's 40 because it makes it easier. It makes the game $57.99. So then, if you think of the game and the season pass together, do you think you'd be thinking, wow, that's well worth $57.99? If it was all coming out together, I think maybe not.
No, absolutely.
So, but it gives people a choice, doesn't it? Fans can explore the map features and stuff. What about the Wii U people that got get a link in a Switch T-shirt? Where's the Wii T-shirt? The Wii U T-shirt, sorry.
No one cares about the Wii U. No one ever cared about the Wii U. No, it's like, no, I don't know. I mean, is the Switch T-shirt only for Switch players?
I don't know. I think I'm sure I read something somewhere that it's the Switch T-shirt no matter what.
Right.
So if you're on the Wii U, you get that constant reminder that you're on a second-class console. You're not on the best.
That'd be so funny. That's a really sad way of
playing
an
advert. Yeah. Telling you that you're not good enough.
Yeah. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the Switch.
Do you know what the size of the season pass is going to be?
No, because it's bigger than the storage.
They don't know.
Yeah, because they have no idea at the moment, do they? They're just throwing out these words.
Words for money.
Yes. So that's my kind of Switchy kind of Zelda news.
Okay.
So you've got some more kind of Switch items, I think.
Yeah, well, the reason I ask about the size of it is because it comes onto my next little item.
Segue.
On the Switch, which is trying my best. It's about Switch storage. So we know that it's got 32 gig of system memory. Some of that's allocated to the operating system. And it's just something that I saw today on Kotaku that mentions about some of the sizes of the different games that are coming out for it. And just to get an idea of how necessary extra storage would be, I think it's probably a no-brainer to say it's kind of essential, but let's just go through a few figures. I can never pronounce this game correctly, but is it Disgaea 5? Disgaea?
Disgaea. Let's go for Disgaea, yeah.
Let's go for this. So Disgaea 5, that's going to be 6 gig, 5.9 gig.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is going to be just over 7 gig.
Mm-hmm.
Breath of the Wild, which everyone's probably going to get, is 13.4 gig, so 13.5 gig, which again is okay. But Dragon Quest Heroes, which has not been announced to be released in the West yet, but is coming out in the East, is going to take up 32 gig.
Wow!
So that won't fit.
So is that
straight
if you
away
bought it digitally?
Yes.
Yes. So if you bought it a cartridge, obviously you put the cartridge in, it doesn't take up any space. But if you bought it digitally, which I want to do most of my games for the Switch, because it's obviously...
Is that what you're going to do?
It's a handheld, yep. So if you bought that, you couldn't even get it on the internal storage.
No, exactly. And so it's just an information thing, really, that if you're thinking about getting digital, you're going to really have to factor in the price of one of these micro SDXC cards as an essential, a bit like a gamepad. Well, I suppose a gamepad's usually thrown in, so that isn't an essential purchase. But you're going to get a game. You're going to probably, if you're going to get looking at digital, you're going to probably want one of these. Now, for a 128 gig SanDisk card, you're looking at around 35 to 40 quid. You can get a 200 gig card for about £69.
Oh, can you?
So, yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I've got a SanDisk Extreme Pro 256 gig in my wish list on Amazon, on my Amazon list, and that's 118. And I was kind of, toying about that, but whether I should... Maybe it's because it's an Extreme Pro that, for some reason, the 256 gig is that high.
Oh, okay. Well, this is Lexar Professional... SDXC 200 gigabyte UHS flash memory with USB 3.0 adapter, and it's actually the RRP is down for $83.99, but it's on at $68.99 at the moment on Amazon currently.
Right, awesome. Thank you very much.
So you should probably have a look. So I don't know. That sounds like it's probably a good price. So it's just an information thing, really. That if you're thinking of doing that, you're probably going to have to factor that in as well. So it's 280 quid plus for a 128 card, probably around 40 quid. Or if you're going to get the 200 gig card, you're going to add an extra 70 quid on. So it just brings it up to around 350, 320 for your console. But if you're only bothered about cartridges, then it doesn't matter so much.
So was that the Kingston one that you were looking at?
No, it was Lexmark or something. Hold on a minute.
Oh, Lexar,
that's it, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
So, where does that bring me to? Yeah,
I'm listening to him, you listeners, so you should listen to him and go to Amazon now.
You never know, that might go back to 88 quid any minute. Exactly. Remember, nobody listened about the motion controllers, the Move controllers for PSVR.
Yeah. Hashtag Darren was right.
Oh no way! Oh no, I'm not that. No. Don't make me into him. Well, I like Colin Moriarty. So yeah, there's also been some embargoes revealed, when embargoes will be lifted. So Nintendo Switch hardware previews are going to go up, probably by the time people are listening to this, February the 23rd. That's when hardware previews for the Nintendo Switch are allowed to go up. So tomorrow. And the reviews for that hardware will be live on March the 1st.
Right.
So that's good to know, isn't it? March the 1st, that's the day it comes out, isn't it?
No, that's Horizon Zero Dawn Day.
Is it the day after the Switch Day?
2 days.
2 days,
yeah.
Okay. And then Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild previews, so this is quite exciting. Previews will go up on the 24th of Feb, so a couple of days from recording, and the actual reviews are going to go up on the 2nd of March.
Right, so we get hardware reviews next Wednesday, and then Zelda on Thursday, and then it comes out on Friday.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to reading about it. The thing with previews is, I find that previews are usually quite one-sided in the positive. I think then I always get the impression that outlets aren't really allowed to say anything bad in a preview because they'll jeopardise getting any of the actual kit. So previews, it's kind of looking for what they don't say rather than what they do say to find out the actual, where things are with stuff. Whereas once the reviews come out, then I found the reviews to be much more objective. It's a funny thing, but I've always felt that. But anyway, I'm just sort of going on.
No, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's kind of. I think you're absolutely spot on. It has to be quite a bad game if a preview is kind of.
Yeah, it'd have to be appalling, wouldn't it? Where they couldn't get away with not saying anything.
Yeah, I think even that game that was on the PlayStation exclusive, the one that was set in London in Victorian times.
Oh, the Order 1866.
Yeah,
that one.
That one. Even that got really good previews, and then it got panned in the reviews. I quite liked it, but it got panned in the reviews. But even the previews were quite positive about it.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a trend. I'm not sure why, because I've never worked for a media outlet, but it's probably just because they want to keep a good relationship with publishers and developers, because that's their bread and butter. So there we go. So yeah, that's my Switch news.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen a couple of people, some kind of not YouTubers, but yeah, YouTubers and some outlets have kind of already started touting that they have some Switch hardware. You can imagine, GDC is kind of next week, so you can imagine that a lot of people are now on planes flying there with Switches. I know Greg Miller kind of sent a picture that he had a Switch and he was just about to jump on a plane. So he, that's the dream, So he was already kind of doing that. You imagine kind of pulling one of those out of GDC right now, this next week, where people will be swarming to kind of get their hands and to have a look at it if they haven't already got one.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine the crowd round him.
Yes.
Switch. Like zombie hands.
Yeah. Give it to me. But yeah. So as I was saying earlier in the show, Game they've kind of buggered up my plans, because my plan was to pick it up at midnight, get it all set up, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, go to work and play it on the train on my way into London, and then kind of play it on my way home, and then get home and dock it, and to kind of do the whole kind of Switch advert. But unfortunately, Game have decided, in Tunbridge Wells, Game have decided not to open at midnight. So I don't know if they've only got a few Switches and it's not worth the money to hire, the people that are needed there to open the store at midnight, because it's in a centre. It's in the centre of Tunbridge Wells, so it's in the Victoria Centre. So they've decided not to do it. They are going to open up early on Friday, early being 8 a.m. But I'm normally kind of at work at 8 a.m. So I'm just not sure what to do at the moment. They really have kind of buggered my plans slightly, because by the time I get home, they're shut. So they called me today, and they did say that I could pay for it from any time after this Friday. You can go into your Game, and if you pre-ordered it, you can pay for it, and I'll be able to give Nicola the receipt, and she'll be able to pick it up for me. But
that's not bad.
No, it kind of. But I love the idea of picking it up and cradling it and then running home at like midnight and just kind of going, I really need to sleep and I really need to set it up. I know I did it to myself. I raised the expectation. I built this all up in my head, and now it just feels like, it's been taken away from me. So I am finding we've got Blue Water is not far. I tried to contact Blue Water Game today to see if they're doing a midnight launch because I don't mind driving to Blue Water at midnight. Nicola thought I was crazy when I told her this. But I don't mind driving to Blue Water at midnight to pick it up. Or even before, I could get a Five Guys and watch a movie. Who knows, But I'll wait and see if I can get
a little bit of me time thrown in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just sit there and wait. And,
make a night of it.
Yeah, I'll take my iPad, play some mini Metro. I'm all good.
Oh, you're so dedicated. I love it. But would you say? Well, we all, I might ring a few outlets around my area tomorrow and just get the skinny on this, because I just kind of presume there would be a midnight launch. The fact that your Tunwell shop isn't doing a midnight launch, I don't know, is it an ill omen or something like that? It doesn't bode well, does it? It doesn't sound good. I'd expect a load of fanfare. You said they did a midnight launch for the PSVR, didn't they?
They did indeed, yeah. They did a PSVR midnight launch, and I've been there. I picked up my 3DS from there. They've had plenty. They did it for the Xbox One S, the Xbox, PlayStation 4. They've done it everything, but for some reason,
Xbox One S is like mid. That's just a mid-cycle thing.
I know, but it was crazy. So I don't know if they haven't got a lot of units, so if their allocation is low.
You should have demanded a reason.
Yes.
Why is it, sir? Is it because you haven't got units, or is it because you're not bothered about the Switch? What is it?
Well, exactly. I mean, like I say, I'm going to go in because I was from Friday, so I'm in town at the weekend. I'm going to pop in and I'll have a chat with them. I'll ask them why they're not doing a midnight launch, and to see if it's because they've got low stock or because they've only got a couple of people that are pre-ordered and it's not worth their money. Because my friend Stuart from Just Add Popcorn, he used to work at the Sony store in that centre, and he knows. He was saying to me that they have to hire some security guards, obviously, to open up the doors and.
It's not just the shop.
No, to funnel everyone through. So it's kind of like we've only got 10 of these, so it's not worth paying. We'll be out of pocket by the time we've paid the centre the money needed to open. But you're right. It shouldn't matter if they have one or two. There should be a bit of a fanfare. This is a new Nintendo console. It should be held up like Simba at the start of Lion King.
It should be. It's a shining beacon of gaming.
Yes.
It's a bit. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ring up, like I say, I'll ring up around my local area and see if any of my lot are doing it. We'll have to chat about that. We'll mention it next week.
Yes.
See what we found out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do some investigation and get back. Because I've got a 24-hour Asda not far. Maybe they might have one. I might just.
Yeah, of course. You might have to reserve it, but you could do that. That's a good idea.
That's bloody genius. That's exactly what I'll do. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pop to Asda for Viscount.
Is there only Asda? Because if there's a 24-hour Tesco, you want to hedge your bets.
Yeah, no, we don't have a Tesco around by us.
So have you only got an Asda then?
Yeah, and gets Viscounts while I'm there as well.
Right, well, Viscount's demon. The mint ones.
Only the mint ones. Oh, yeah.
Orange, what's that?
I know. Who wants an orange Viscount? What kind of weird kid took orange Viscount to school?
You get beaten up. You have Jaffa cakes if you want orange.
Exactly.
You need to ring Aston.
That's why I love you, Darren.
Be fine.
That's why I love you, because you know on the right level. Yes. Anyway, right, should we get on to the...
Sorry, mate, yes.
That's right. Next piece of news is with me, and today, Major Nelson, the face and the voice of Xbox, released the Games for Gold for March. So the Games of Gold are live, and we always have 2 games for Xbox One and 2 games for Xbox 360, which are available on Xbox One via backwards compatible. So what do we have? We have Layers of Fear will be available from the 1st to the 31st of March. Now, I didn't know what Layers of Fear was. It's currently $19.99 on the Xbox One, and it I still don't really know what, but it says you can take another drink as the canvas looms in front of you. The light flickers dimly in the corner. You've created countless pieces of art, but never anything like this. You haven't done anything like this before. It seems so obvious in retrospect, but friends, critics, business partners, soon they'll all see it. But I've got to click on more. Oh my god, this description just keeps going. It looks like it's a walk. It looks like a walk through a vast quantity of ever-changing Victorian mansion and uncover the fears and the horrors that entwine for this painter who has to finish his masterpieces. So I vamped a bit because I pressed that more button, and then there was a lot of text. And, I didn't have the chops to pull it off. That's when we need James.
You did, mate. You did. I thought, but I will tell you this though. In the rating, it's got alcohol reference, blood, partial nudity, strong language, and violence.
Demon.
There you go. If you want a slice of that, then get involved.
And that's going to be available from the 1st to the 31st of March, and that's Layers of Fear. Next up on Xbox One, we knew this was going to happen. From March 16th to April 15th, we have Evolve. So we have Evolve, the Ultimate Edition. And we just knew this because it went free to play, didn't it, on PC?
I was going to say, I was going to say, what's this? Where does it say? It should be $49.99. It's free. They failed. It's free. They tried to fleece everybody too much. The game completely panned. But yeah, it's free now because the servers went dead. I don't know if I covered it on the show or not. I can't remember if I covered it or not. But basically, even after going free, I don't think it was dead bad. I should have probably covered it, but I think I just thought you're not even worth the story. But I think they were saying they're going to close the servers or something because the servers just got emptied even when it was free, and it was like, wow, it's gone. But this should revitalise it a bit, shouldn't it?
It really should. It'd be interesting to see kind of the activity because, I quite enjoyed it. I think I've said before, I went to a Microsoft event and a friend and I, we played Evolve with like 4 other people. Everyone had headsets on. We were all sitting next to each other. There was one guy who was the monster, and we all just jumped in. And I, based on that, I wanted to buy that game. We came away from that Xbox event, absolutely buzzing about that game. There was like Sunset Overdrive, there was Evolve, there was Fable Legends, and a Forza game as well, but we came away buzzing about Evolve because suddenly I just experienced it as it should be experienced, and it was just so much fun. We were trapping, we were sending things out, and then when the demo came out, I think there might have even been a beta, I kind of played online, and there was just no one was talking. Everyone just ran off on their own way. There was a guy just jumping up and down. I was like, oh wow, this really does live and die with a group of friends, but who's going to want to play this again and again and again? And now that it's coming out for free, it would be very interesting, and I'll happily jump in if anyone wants to have a game on Xbox when this comes out on the 15th of March, or 16th of March, I should say. And then over on Xbox 360, available on Xbox One via backwards compatible, we have the awesome Borderlands 2, and that's going to be available from the 1st of March to the 15th of March. And then we also have from the 16th to the 31st of March on Xbox 360 is Heavy Weapons, which looks like it's a kind of a left to right 16-bit kind of shooter, so which looks interesting. But I think we have it's an okay lineup. I think for March, it's not the strongest that Games of Gold has been, but Evolve definitely looks like it could be. It might be worthwhile just jumping in for a bit of fun.
Yeah, I think Xbox the last few months has been really strong.
They really have.
I think it's been trouncing PlayStation. To be honest, it's been really good. This one a little bit weaker, but for all our banter about Evolve, it's still it's a big game to release for free, isn't it? Borderlands 2 is an absolute classic, and I suppose because Borderlands 2 is so good, you pay the price a little bit with Heavy Weapon. And Layers of Fear, who knows? Could be good. We can't say anymore after slating Broforce, and it turning out to be good. So it might be, Layers of Fear might be amazing.
Exactly. I would never put down a title I've never played before after that.
Yeah, I do think. I even forgotten what they were, but the PlayStation games for this month, the February games, I don't think I liked any of them. I'm just trying to remember what they were.
Little Big Planet.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan, but that was a good release if you're a fan of it. I forget the others, but I was just kind of I tried them all out, and some of them I was just like, oh, this is just a waste of time for free. I thought it really made me think, Xbox are really just so much more quality than these throwaway games.
Right.
we'll see what they have in store for March, won't we?
Absolutely, yeah. That should be. They normally kind of go after Xbox, don't they? We're normally kind of a week in, a week out. So yes. So the next piece of news, Daz, is with you.
It is, and this is it's a nasty story, this really. But I was actually in two minds about talking about it, but I thought I would mention it. So it's kind of ridiculous, but this is platform passion loyalty gone to the extreme. Okay, so two guys in Russia have an argument about what's best, Nvidia or AMD. You know, lots of people probably have this debate all around the world. But usually it probably doesn't end up in one killing the other one. But in this case it did.
What?
So yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay. The guy that did it has been sentenced to 9.5 years in prison after murdering his friend because they argued about what's best out of Nvidia and AMD.
Why did he only get 9.5 years?
Well, I don't know.
Did the judge agree with him? He was like, actually, you got a point. Nvidia is not.
Yeah, he was like, we're gonna. Normally, you'd either be killed or you'd get life for this, but clearly Nvidia are best. So you only get 9.5. But yeah, it's happened in a place called Saransk in Russia. It happened last year, September the 16th, 2016. These two guys were having a beer and they started to chat about what's best. And then they got very drunk, extremely intoxicated, in fact. And it led to the argument just got way out of control. And basically, one of them, Alexander Trofimov, who's 37, stabbed his mate, Evgeny Lilin, with a knife. He felt so strongly, this is what I'm reading this now, he felt so strongly that Nvidia was the best graphics card manufacturer that he couldn't handle Weilin's opinion that AMD was better and proceeded to hit him in the head twice with a knife after the argument escalated.
Oh my God, that's heavy.
That's bad, isn't it? So just watch what you're saying, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Is you never know. These are friends from the report. Having a chat. Maybe it's lucky that we've got 200, nearly 300 miles between us, Anthony, because we can say what we want, but we can't stab each other.
Oh my God. Should we head over to the VR news desk?
Let's move on. I may even just edit that out completely. I'll consult. We'll have a chat about that after the pod. See what you think.
Right, let's. And now we head over to the VR news desk for the latest in VR.
VR desk.
Hello and welcome once again to the VR desk. Here we are in the virtual reality fun world. What we've got for you this week. 3 things I've got for you this week, Anthony.
Oh.
I bet you can't wait. I bet you're so excited.
I am indeed. I do like the old VR news desk.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Put my feet up, put my jacket on, and I'm ready to go.
Get yourself comfy.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll just adjust my collar. So the first thing is, do you remember talking about the HTC Vive tracker peripheral that they're bringing out?
Yes.
This is a peripheral. Kind of looks like the top of a Vive wand, and you can stick it on anything. And that will bring this object into a game. So the developer has to sort of render it in, but it means you can bring real-world objects into games, which will mean not having to create peripherals, just attaching this tracker to anything. It opens up a plethora of different ideas and uses for the technology within VR. And HTC have opened up the doors to the developers to say who wants them. Well, they revealed today that they received over 2,300 submissions from the Vive dev community, which is really positive because they were only giving away 1,000 of these trackers. So there's a huge demand for these. So that's really good news. They say that I'll give you the quote, "We are already seeing fresh thinking for Vive Tracker, and we couldn't be more excited by the breadth and depth of the applications that they've received." So presumably on the application, I'm just making this up now, but I'm imagining from that the devs have to outline an idea that they've got that they want to use the tracker with, and then Vive will sort of weigh that up, and if they think that that's a good idea, they'll send them a tracker. Because they're saying that because they've had so many, they're going to keep the applications open, and they're going to review every single submission. So I'm presuming it's going to be like an interview process, and if you've got, the 1,000 best ideas, we'll get these trackers, which is great for VR in general, not just for Vive owners. It's great for VR because it's all about the developers, isn't it? Utilising the technology to create wonder for us all. So that was Daniel O'Brien, who's the general manager for US and EMEA for Vive. He said, for us, the tracker represents an important investment in the VR community to grow the future of VR without limits on experimentation. So that's really exciting. It says that developers that got in really early and have seen their submissions approved will probably start to get their trackers this week. So that's when we're going to start to see how they're being used in new applications, new games, new experiences. I suppose at first we'll just see that in video form, and then they'll release the trackers to the consumers to buy, of which I'm not sure how much that's going to be. But with this tracker peripheral and the TP Cast that makes the Vive wireless, it's quite exciting. The next few months could be quite exciting in the Vive space. But when I talk about Vive, really, because that's sort of the high-end VR experience at the moment, I'd always think of that's going to filter down. So I'm not trying to just stack it all Vive. I'm thinking this is VR in general, because if you go to the sort of highest denominator, that's where it's all going to end. So innovations here are innovations for everyone in the industry, aren't they? So I just think of it as, good for everyone. So that's cool.
Absolutely, because, it's quite interesting to see that I saw some news going around that there was a PlayStation pattern that was kind of adding those motion sensors, could be adding motion sensors to PlayStation VR. So kind of learning from the Vive, having that room scale, and then adding that. You're right, what happens in one area then just does affect. You go from the high end, which is your HTC Vive, all the way down to that the kind of entry level, which is PlayStation VR. But they do kind of just help each other out, even if they're not working close together as we thought they was. But just by innovating that way, it's the same with mobile phones and everything. You see someone doing something, it spurs their competitor on or their peer on to do something the same.
Yeah, it trickles down, doesn't it? And everyone's a winner in the end. That's why competition's good and everything, which we were talking about before, weren't we, with Microsoft and Sony and stuff. And yeah, absolutely, and this just is great because it's gonna give us more innovation. And it's funny you say that about Sony doing some kind of tracking thing, because I read today as well, I wasn't going to report on it, but I'll mention it, that Valve, Gabe Newell announced that they were going to drop the royalty fee for people using their tracker software or their tracker design, if you like. What's the word I'm looking for? Their tracker, I don't know, design. The way that their Vive tracker works. They're sort of saying, here you go, people can use that now. And there was quite a hefty cost attached to that, up to probably this last week or so. And Valve have said that's okay. You can use it now royalty free.
Wow!
So that's going to enable more people to use this method of tracking, which I don't know if it's the best. I don't know, but it's tried and tested and it does work. So that's something else that can be added. And also, I read a report that Vive are going to be announcing in the next few months their mobile system. So they're going to work on a mobile system. But the guy said it's not going to be a headset that you slide a phone into, like all the others.
Right.
Or pretty much all the others. There are different ones. So that's one to watch. So the HTC are going to bring out some kind of mobile VR, but it's not going to be one where you slide your phone down into the headset. So the headset presumably is going to have some sort of system in there. But this is the mobile option, so it's going to be lightweight. It's presumably not going to be as expensive as a full-fledged Vive or even a PSVR. I'm imagining they're going to have to target the price of a Gear VR, really, to make it successful. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens. And it'd just be, I don't know, Vive took me by surprise because I was all ready for an Oculus, and then they just came out of nowhere and said you could do this room scale, which blew me away. Imagine if they got this is just, hypothesis, but imagine if they brought out some reasonable cost, portable VR system that was good, didn't really require your phone. I suppose it doesn't matter if it does require your phone. But, that you could use on the train and things like that. Without looking stupid. See, that's the last bit, isn't it? That's the last bit. That's the tricky bit. unless everyone's doing it, you're going to look like a fool.
Yes, well, I mean, I did see. I think there was someone who kind of posted something on Twitter where there was someone that was just kind of sitting on the train, kind of playing VR on a train, and everyone kind of around him was ridiculing, but the guy didn't care. Yeah. He was having a great time. He was on VR. He wasn't on a stuffy train. He was somewhere else. He was in a magical wonderland and was enjoying himself.
He was on a beach somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
He was the real winner, eh?
You imagine being in the London Underground. If you have to kind of do a whole an hour trip on the Underground, putting VR on would be perfect. You could do that Zen app or that Perfect app that I have on the PlayStation 4. And you could just be transported to a nice kind of mountaintop somewhere. It'd be all very Zen-like.
It would be lovely, but then you look down and your laptop's been nicked. Your work bag's gone.
Yeah.
You've been covered in spray paint.
Yeah. You've missed your stop and you're back home again.
Yeah. It's the end of the line and it's not going back. Oh, brilliant. So, I just thought I'd add that bit in. And the next thing is, this is pretty cool. So, you've seen these videos of people in VR where it's called mixed reality, so you can see the person and the VR together instead of just seeing the VR through their eyes, which doesn't look as good as actually seeing that real life person within the virtual environment. And they look really good, don't they? Mm-hmm. But there's one thing that sort of takes away a little bit of personality from those videos is that you can't see the face because obviously they've got the HMD on. Mm-hmm. Google's done something pretty cool with some technical jiggery pokery with eye tracking and some other little things. It's managed to with a modded Vive. It's managed to use some kind of camera with eye tracking and it maps your face, not in real life, but on the video that you're taking, it maps your face onto the HMD.
Right.
So obviously you can see your mouth properly because that's below the HMD, but your face that's above the part of your face that's being blocked by the HMD is then mapped onto the HMD by this tracking software that is like eye tracking software. Then the video shows your face and expression. So you can do a virtual reality video, a mixed reality video, I should say, of you in VR. Instead of just having your eyes, the windows to the soul blocked off, you'll be able to see the elation that these people are having. I think that's pretty
cool, isn't it?
Pretty cool tech, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
So it's sort of like, I don't know how it does it, but it's sort of got a camera on the inside. I don't know how it works. Oh, I was going to say it'd be dark, but it isn't. It's bright because of the lenses, and it's probably just taking a picture of the inside of your face, and then the video software knows to put that face render it onto the HMD. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's a few videos of people doing it. Well, there's a GIF on this website from Upload VR of a guy doing it, and it's just better than seeing them just with the face blocked off. So I'll add that to the show notes for anyone that's curious. Are you yawning, Anthony?
No, I was giggling because you said there's a video of a guy doing it, and I'm a child. So I chuckled.
Dear me.
Oh, I love that. Sorry.
Brilliant. That's all right. Crikey. I don't think it was a giggle. I think it was a massive yawn.
No, it really was a giggle. I was trying to stifle a laugh.
That's very interesting, Darren.
Because you said it.
Get on with it.
You said it 3 times. You said there's a couple of videos of people doing it, and it just kind of I say I'm a schoolboy, and I've never grown.
I was going to say, what are you, an infant?
I've never grown up.
Do you think this is?
I do that. Luckily, I have a counterpart at work who also chuckles as well at those kind of things at work. We had a meeting on Friday, and he said that. What did he say? He said one person's name. He said something. And it just really kind of made it both of us chuckle. And then when we looked around the room, no one else was laughing. They were just shaking their heads. I'm supposed to be a manager.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a manager. This is supposed to be a family show. There'll be no one laughing here.
That's it. So yes. So carry on. Apologies, sir.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Well, so where are we? Yeah. So the final thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool, that Google stuff. But the final thing, so you think those games are making you fat, do you? Sitting around, lazing around, eating chocolate and pizza, playing games all day. What about using VR as a fitness regime? Well, we've sort of mentioned it before, but one guy, he's done it. He's done it. Well, maybe a few guys have done it, but the guy I'm talking about has done it as well. His name is Job Storfer, and he sort of ended up in the situation where he got a bit heavy. He got past the 300-pound mark. And he started to feel pretty bad. He weren't happy with himself, and he decided that he wanted to lose some weight, but he just didn't want to go to a gym. He didn't fancy all that gym stuff. So he used it's a bit Vive heavy in it this week, sorry about that, but he used his Vive, and you could use other VR solutions are available, I'm sure, with games like this. He used a game called Soundboxing,
right,
as part of his diet plan, and he ended up losing more than £50.
Wow.
Doing this. So obviously he did a bit of healthy eating as well, and he mixed this in with exercise, and he did his exercise in the Vive. And yeah, he found a game that clicked with him called Soundboxing, which sounds like it's a little bit like Audio Shield. Mate, you can get any tune you want through YouTube on this.
Right.
So you're playing the game, you just search for a tune in YouTube or create a playlist. And he said that he started off with like 20 minutes hard, and then he just worked his way up. He's getting to 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes in there. Punching. What you do is you punch orbs that come to you to the beat. Up, down, left, right. And doing this, along with obviously healthy eating and a good sleep, good lifestyle. I think he abandoned eating chocolate all the time. He's lost loads of weight.
Wow.
Around £50 just through playing Soundboxing alone.
Good on him. That's awesome.
Yeah. He posted a tweet that shows the difference before and after. £50.4 lost since 9th of June last year. And when did he post that? 15th of Feb. So 8 months. But 8 months of gaming to lose weight. That's better than the gym, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's really cool. And it's like you say, it's a lot more interesting as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's so much more engaging. And I just thought, I've got a Vive, why aren't I doing this? Because I've been actually thinking about joining a gym, and maybe I should just forget spending extra money and just utilise things that I've already spent money on, and just get down there and start doing. I could do that every day, And it's like he says this is his quote. First started out, spent like 20 minutes in the headset, then 20 became 25, then 45, then 45 became an hour, and sometimes become 90 minutes. And he says he even bought a set of only £1 weighted gloves. He says it doesn't sound like much, but it really engages your body. And if you've ever tried to hold something out extended, just a light weight, it really taxes you, doesn't it? So yeah, this guy's done that. If you look, I'll put the link to this in the show notes as well. There's a video of him playing the game, sort of training, and there's a before and after picture, and it's quite inspiring. And a great positive use of VR and gaming, really, which is a nice thing.
Absolutely. I saw you playing Audio Shield. All you need to do is put some banging tunes on Audio Shield.
I thought you were going to say put some trousers on.
Yeah. God, I wish you would have put some trousers on. But all it would need is for you to play like Audio Shield with that, and you'd just be like, you do that for like 20 minutes a day. Do 4 songs on Audio Shield. You'd be that's a pretty hefty workout.
Yeah, I think I might do it. I might get in touch with the guy. I might just say to him, "What did you do about sweating inside your headset?"
Yes.
See what he says about that.
Yes.
I'm quite interested. I mean, I've got my headband, as you know.
Yeah.
Which will be which will be fine. But you know something, I'm going to have a think about this in the next few days. I may start doing it, and I might, to shame myself, I might announce my progress weekly on here or something.
There you go.
Or maybe I'll do it every few months or something like that.
Yes. No, absolutely. We'll have a Daz Weight Watch. At the end of the VR news desk, you can tell us how much you've lost.
Yeah, and if I haven't, it's just like, pathetic waster.
It just enables you to drink more beer at the weekend. So
yeah, it's just like, I lost this, but then I've just had all this beer.
Yes, I ate all the paella, so...
All the pie.
Superb. And on that note, that's about it for this episode. Huge thank you for listening. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can also find us on YouTube and Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 and PS4 community, I should say, and Xbox One Club. Darren, where can people find you online?
You find us in too many places. That's the thing, isn't it?
I know.
It's ridiculous. You can find me as Wythermator on PS4, Xbox One, and Twitch, and Beam, and actually not Steam, but maybe soon Steam. Dazagamer on YouTube, and at DazWhittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please give us a review on iTunes. So that's about it. We'll catch up with you guys next week. Cheers.
Bye.